this, and it just always felt like this was the place that I needed to be. And so while my other time slot was amazing, it just felt like, if the opportunity ever came, I'm not saying there was any tampering involved, but if the opportunity ever came, I knew that there might be an opportunity here for me at the early game. And so with that being said, I'd like to say here today that I am 100% committed to Bill Gunter, Jen Jansen, and 107.5 and the early game.
And Jen Jensen.
However, yesterday Preston and I learned we have some things in common. For example, there is still only one of us in this studio out of the three of us who likes to do yard work, and it's still the manliest woman in this studio because she knows how to use a hedger.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
I really just like this song. I was thinking about not talking and just kind of letting it go. It's not a kid-appropriate song if the words were being used.
Just the instrumental.
But the instrumental is a smooth, jazzy tune to open up your National Signing Day. I hate this. I really do. This will be one of the closer things I come to as an old man rant.
Let's do it.
Obviously, I never got to participate as you did in a National Signing Day. I want to pick your brain on that a little bit today.
Participate in air quotes. Yeah.
Oh, Preston Thorne wasn't in the main room for it. As a person, I got into recruiting. I had a class in high school. So we're talking 98, 99, right? 97, 98, 99. I had a class. It was one of the first classes I remember, like, really, you had to use computers for different stuff. And you could actually get on the internet. I mean, I remember being in, like, I think 6th grade, 5th grade, playing Oregon Trail, and you'd have the little program that worked on your typing. You had to have the fingers there, and you had to work on typing, 5th or 6th grade, 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere in there. And then when you got done with your typing lesson, you could play Oregon Trail. Did you ever play the Oregon Trail?
This all sounds very familiar.
Yes. Jen, are you familiar with no?
No.
There might be a lapse right there.
Really? You're not familiar with I feel like of all of us in this room, you would be the one that loves the Oregon Trail. I guess we're going to call it a computer game, because I'm pretty sure it never went to Nintendo or Sega Genesis Oregon Trail was.
I'm old.
Right now, I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah,
you're not that much different though. The Oregon Trail was I forget where you started. I forget where. I mean, you followed the Oregon Trail up to Oregon. You were going, I guess, gold mining or.
I feel like I'm completely pulling this off the top of my head or somewhere else, but Independence, Missouri.
Is that where? I think you're right.
I'm ready. Jen, have a ding ready for me if that's correct.
Let's see. It's an listed as an educational computer game. I didn't ever know. Let's see. Let me see if I can get the exact specifics. He is right. He starts. Yeah, Independence was wow.
Let's go.
He's ready now.
The player assumes the role of a wagon leader, guiding a party of settlers from Independence, Missouri, to Oregon's Willet Valley via a covered wagon in 1848. That's how you played the game. And you got it. Your party, what you do is you'd go in. This is the old, I don't even know how to describe the computers at that point.
Commodore 64.
Yeah. Okay. Really on it this morning. I'm not sure if that's it or not, but you would guide your team up through the Oregon Trail, and there's parts where you had to keep up with food. You had money. You could go to the store and ration, but then you had to go and buy some ammunition. You could go out and shoot buffalo or rabbits.
I mean, it sounds vaguely familiar, but it's not something I had. We did.
Yeah, it provided endless hours of entertainment.
It actually did, and I'll be honest, years before I ever came to the station, I would do a radio show And I would actually just play the game during the radio show. I'd kind of be checked in to the radio show I was doing. I know it sounds very professional. I've come a long way, but yeah, you could play that, and that was my first experience. But going back to where I was initially going before we went down an Oregon Trail is probably somewhere in about high school, 10th, 11th grade. Actually, it might have been about 10th grade because at Lexington at that time, this would be a little very, very prior to you, but you might remember the name. Lexington had an offensive lineman named Michael Blakely who signed with South Carolina. Didn't last very long, but
I don't remember the name.
Signed with South Carolina. But I would go into this computers class or something. Might have been like some kind of econ class or something. But you had computers that you get on the internet, and Rivals on Monday. Not like it is now where you've got the full-on paragraph, but you would have just a quick, like 3-sentence at most blurb about a recruit. You would just hit the next button and the next button and the next button, and it would just go through all. And that was the first time I ever got my induction. Again, probably failed the class, which is why I'm doing radio. So kids, pay attention in class. Don't read on the internet when your teacher's talking. But I would sit there and read all the little recruiting updates, and it would tell me about all these kids. And that's when I first learned about like 5 stars and 4 stars and kids that were taking visits here and there.
Bill, we have to reframe that. You were preparing for your future.
I was, true. Yeah,
it's actually using your time in school very well. Who says you don't use what you do in school?
Actually, a good point.
See,
thank you for being here.
Let's change your narrative a little bit.
Jen would have gone the opposite way if it was just us two. She would have called me a dork and a nerd. And
well, I'm not saying that either. But you were preparing for this moment.
Absolutely.
But that's how I got my introduction into recruiting, and it developed through high school, and then. What is it? During the Lou Holtz era, during your era, I started following it closer and closer and closer. I remember being excited the day that we landed Sean Smith, the junior college defensive tackle.
Yep.
I remember that being a day. I remember in your class because in 99, we had gone through 22 different quarterbacks. Phil Petty, Kevin Sides, Kyle Crabb.
Mikal Goodman.
I was at that game at home. Yeah, South Carolina gone through.
Crab, wow.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we can play days where I can go back in the Rolodex here. I remember, I believe it was Jared Reese was a junior college quarterback.
Yeah, Jared Reese, but Jared never made it to campus.
You're right. Something happened, but he was supposed to be the guy that would come in, and obviously the story changed. Phil Petty went on to an incredible 2-year run, back-to-back Outback Bowls, and so forth, and the legacy of Phil Petty, lives today. And so, but I remember that was my introduction into that. And then following it, James Atkinson. I remember Chavez Donnings, landing him. Like I got into recruiting 22, 23 years ago. And National Signing Day, as I got older and got into college, it evolved. I remember being in some class, 8 a.m. class, I think in 2000, Spurrier's first year, I believe, and South Carolina lands a commitment from Jonathan Hanna, big time tight end, I believe out of North Carolina, flipped from Virginia Tech to South Carolina. I remember being in there, and another buddy in there said, "We got him." This was before, this was 05, and you didn't have the smartphones.
Those were the fun days. When I was teaching. It was sort of like I taught in the social studies department, so unfortunately, there was only usually like 2 women in there, and they had to endure us. Very similar to Jen's plight here. They had to endure us, and it would be like, today's a Wednesday, so it would be a staff meeting, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole staff meeting would just be, who did your team get? Who's going to sign? And that would be the whole endurance of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it was
so much fun.
I shouldn't say men, but if you were a huge follower of your sports team, like this was Christmas. This day, the first Wednesday in February, there were people that would take off. There were people, and it evolved, and it continued to evolve. It evolved to where ESPN would have wall-to-wall 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. coverage. ESPN News would have it covered completely. You'd have announcements throughout the day. There was always something that happened where somebody flipped from somebody to somebody. I mean, I would say, what do you think? This peaked out, really, truly peaked out in it It was right around Clowney. It was right around, so 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there, like where ESPN was full bore. It was, they came on, they preempted Sports Center. It was on ESPNU all day. Does that seem about right to you, where it really kind of reached its max in terms of you had media coverage of it? You weren't just getting updates via, like I was talking about, through the internet. Like, you had full-blown television coverage where you could stay home and just declare it a national holiday.
Yeah, because that at that time it still felt maybe a little localized, where to me it was so shocking seeing film of Clowney running on ESPN and he'd be running against, Rock Hill, or he'd be playing against Northwestern. He'd be like, hey, I know that uniform, or I know that coach, or all of these people would be talking, and it was almost head spinning a little bit to see the world talking about our little state. And that might have been the peak of, and we just happened to be at the epicenter of it. That might have been the peak of recruiting, I guess.
Yeah, and it was so National Signing Day, and this is strange because my son is Austin, gets into it. He knows today Nicholas Harbor.
I would have been so much into it if I was you. How old is
He's
he?
10.
Bruh.
He's 10.
I would have been. It would have been bad.
He knows that today South Carolina has the potential to add. I think Nicholas Harbor is, I believe I saw last night, potentially the sixth highest rated recruit that South Carolina has ever signed. He knows that. He does have a cell phone, as most 10-year-olds I think do nowadays. Hopefully he's not going to have it on at school. So if you're a Gilbert, a Centerville administrator, and you see him, or if you're one of his teachers today and you see him, give him a small pass and let him. I think the announcement for Nicholas Harbor is at 1:00 today. But Preston, I want to get into some of your memories of National Signing Day through the years, because I don't know what it's like to be a player. Also, this is an interesting thing. This used to be a day where we celebrated the new kids coming in. Oh boy, these new kids are going to take us to the cream of this is going to be the class. And you're a current player on the roster already that just played, going, well, dang, I'm still here.
You just said you remembered how big a day it was when Sean Smith came, but Sean Smith played defensive tackle.
I know.
Guess what position Preston played? Yeah, that's a good one to get into.
We'll get into that a little bit. We'll tell you a little bit about what's going on. Nicholas Harbor is expected to make an announcement. Well, he's going to make an announcement today. He's going to do it on ESPN. Speaking of which, so that is not completely dead, but he's going to do it a little after 1:00 is the expected announcement time. So that'll be during Jay and Terry's time. And then Shane Beamer will speak at 2:00 today. I believe we'll have it live right here on 107.5 The Game, where you can hear him. Again, odd press conference because he really is only going to be talking about two players. Elijah Caldwell, who will sign today, the wide receiver out of Northwestern High School, and Nicholas Harbor. So we will get you some recruiting information throughout the day. We will cover last night's South Carolina basketball game to some extent. If you want to weigh in on that, 803-404-6100 is how you can do that. The Gamecocks, again, Preston, we've talked about it, the numbers, well, they kind of bared themselves out last night. Michi Johnson, not particularly good. G.G. Jackson tried to do all he could. South Carolina only down 6 at half. Awful start to the second half. And Mississippi State, who was also 1-7, kind of delivered the knockout blow. We'll get into that a little bit. And then some huge NFL news. Sean Payton is traded. You heard that correctly. We'll get into that. The former head coach of the New Orleans Saints, officially traded. So there's a lot to get to today, but we'll start with some recruiting. We'll have some old war stories from Preston there, the day that we signed Sean Smith and how Preston Thorne handled it. But that is a good point. You remember, for everybody excited about Nicholas Harbor today or whomever, there's a whole bunch of players over there working out going, well, hey, we did just take you to a Gator Bowl. We did just beat Tennessee and Clemson. We're not chopped liver over here. So it'll be interesting to hear the perspective from a player side of things, a current college player like Preston was when signing day rolls around. And if you get on message boards or you listen to talk shows and everybody's calling in very fired up about the next hot shot prospect. We'll get into that when we come back. He's Preston Thorne. I'm Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It is your Wednesday morning edition of the Early Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 604 6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, and or broken, they can handle the job. They'll come to you and they'll give you a free quote for any job that you have. Is it a cracked windshield? No problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work with your insurance company to take away the headache. If you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, showers, enclosures, whatever you have. If you can see through it, Ray and Mary can do it. Check them out at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
This is Zach Gelb with the CBS Sports Minute. Sean Payton is off to Denver to coach Russell Wilson and the Broncos. If you're a Broncos fan, yes, you couldn't have hoped for a better hire, but you still have to wonder if Russell Wilson is cooked, or will his new head coach be able to find Russ's previous magical recipe? Either way, I'm still skeptical of how successful the Broncos can be, because just for starters, the Chiefs and Chargers are better teams in the AFC West, with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert leading the way for the foreseeable future. I'm Zach Gelb.
Is your check engine light on? Let our professional parts people scan and diagnose the problem for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes? Good news. There's a new way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. Call U.S. Tax Shield, A+ rated with the BBB. 800-391-5063 for your free consultation, and let U.S. Tax Shield protect you from the IRS.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. The Powerball jackpot for Wednesday is $653 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See SCEducationLottery.com for jackpot odds in a store near you.
With approved credit and bank determined down payment, call 888-320-6359 for details. The legend of JT began in 1991 when rumor has it that a man with a 300 credit score was able to buy a new car. More than 3 decades later, JT of JT's Kia has helped thousands of people get the new vehicle they need. You too can join JT's Credit Restart. It's easy. If you take home $400 per week and have a steady job, you too could join the thousands JT has helped and drive the new Kia of your dreams. JT's Kia on Killian Commons Road. JT'sKia.com.
Hey, why not try something extreme and exciting this year, like Extreme Pogo? Woohoo! Going for the backflip! Or maybe something really adventuresome, like wingsuit flying. Tree! Or maybe just try eating extremely good pizza from the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. Hand-tossed, spring-water dough, fresh ingredients, all baked on the stone. Now that's exciting and extremely delicious. The Mellow Mushroom in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
I'm Mart.
How often do you check Twitter? Okay, good. I'm going to tell everybody on here they can tweet at you and tell you to get your stuff. So we're trying to get Preston on the live stream. He's being a Heath Klein holdout. Where's my little banner thing here? Add that one.
We are restructuring the deal. All natural solutions trusted by over 3 billion to help you eat better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthy without drugs. Vaz is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and Vaz, NEB, AGU, healthy life. Have a passion for serving children and families? Apply to become a child welfare case manager at dss.sc.gov. This message is sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Social Services.
107.5 The Game Traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply. WISTV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Today is Wednesday, February 1st, and First Alert Traffic looking pretty good right now. We're seeing our typical slow spots, no major incidents to report on any of our interstates, 26 or 77 or even 20. So watch out for some fog this morning and some wet roadways. I'm certainly budgeting in some extra time if you can. Again, watch out for that spray. Many of those vehicles in front of
Yeah,
you.
what is it? It's supposed to start raining tonight, and it's supposed to be. We'll really do about late Friday.
Early game with Phil Kutcher, Preston Moore, on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Eight 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in with a signing day memory. Just right. I mean, it really is, again, today, South Carolina is only waiting, unless there's a massive surprise. Like a massive surprise. South Carolina's only waiting on one prospect today, Nicholas Harbor, the 5-star tight end athlete out of the D.C. area, will make his announcement again. Make it around 1 o'clock, and then maybe a few minutes after on ESPN. He, again, would be, according to, I think, what I've seen on 24/7 Sports, about the 5th or 6th highest rated recruit South Carolina has ever signed. We'll get into a little bit later. I am kind of interested to pick your brain on a player like this and what kind of impact you can actually expect him to make, because I do find it fascinating. Like, if this was a wide receiver or even a running back, definitely a quarterback, people would be absolutely losing their mind. I think that Nicholas Harbor is huge from a perception standpoint when you can go out of state. J.C. Sherber talked a little bit yesterday with C.J. Spiller, Preston. But I think from a perception standpoint, because also there's the track part of this, where this young man's not just good at track, he's Olympic good. And the time it takes to train for track and field and to get ready, he's going to try and get ready for the Olympics. I'm not sure how that fits the football. I know you guys kind of broke it down yesterday, but I'll kind of ask you that. What is when you hear tight end, defensive end, again, perception here is, I think, what matters.
Yeah, I think it's more so for the recruiting prowess of Shane Beamer and company. The story's already sort of being baked in. Shane offered him when he was at Oklahoma. He's been with this guy. He's sort of nurtured this relationship. He's been able to follow it through from the time through an assistant coach to head coach, SEC, winning games, losing games, being down, being up, and they've been able to sort of see this one to the end. So sort of like a whistle to whistle type of recruiting victory if they were to get it. And that should indicate to the fan base that obviously they have the stamina to be able to, because it's not easy to recruit a kid from start to finish. A lot of times, you might jump on late or you might get a clue. So to be able to seal this one, and somebody whose status seems to have only gone up throughout the process, it'd be great to land them, but I think it's more so from the idea that this staff can recruit big-time players.
Yeah, it's one thing to land a Jordan Birch or a Jadeveon Clowney or a Marcus Lattimore. Obviously, you have to battle the big names in state and land them, but to go out of state, that's what made Marshawn Lloyd such a great pickup back in the day, is to go into that area and defeat teams like Georgia and Penn State for Lloyd's signature. That's what made that, because he was a borderline 5-star prospect. I think he ended up at the very end, he was basically 4-star, but that's what made him so big several years ago to actually sign him. Ryan Helinski, just a kid from California, again, was I think the number 2 quarterback in that class behind Spencer Rattler, maybe number 3. That's what made that a big deal, was to go outside of the area and land a big-time prospect.
True. But what's interesting, I guess this is going to be Shane and company's first major prospect that they're going to land as far as their recruiting class is concerned, because everybody that you just mentioned was part of the previous regime's sort of collective of what they've taken. And so even more so, this would be the first real milestone recruit. And I only rather say milestone as far as rated is concerned. We don't know how some of these players are going to play out. Some people might argue that maybe Spencer Rattler was that guy coming through the transfer portal. But first major high school recruit, this would be important because, as you just said, even though we don't talk about that regime very much around here, we still talk about some of their accomplishments and what they did. So it's going to live with the staff.
Well, and again, JC said yesterday, because I think this is the other part that's interesting. JC mentioned that, South Carolina, where he mentioned with Clemson, CJ Spiller was the one that kind of opened the door for other, again, national prospects to say, oh, okay, yeah, I can follow him. They're really opened the door for Florida prospects as well. And that's kind of what you hope Nicholas Harbor is. He is a prospect in the D.C. area, an area that South Carolina has really focused on over these last two recruiting classes.
But here's the catch. Yes, all of that is true about CJ Spiller, but on top of everything else, he balled out.
Okay.
He performed above expectations. All of those people that you just listed that we hauled as major recruitings
didn't
necessarily light the world on fire in Gamecock uniforms. So to land the guy, and then he goes on and becomes a cornerstone for what that program became, that opportunity is still available for somebody like Nick Harbor, because we haven't had anybody in the most recent years that has done that, whether you think about Ryan or you think about Jordan, Marshawn, or whatever the case is, even excluding the transfer portal, just even their time here, they never reached CJ Spiller type of heights. So that opportunity is still available for Nick.
Yeah, and again, he is currently the number 19 player overall on 24/7 Sports, regardless of position. He's the number one athlete. Most feel today that'll come down to South Carolina and Oregon. South Carolina, you mentioned it, Shane Beamer offering with the first offer at Oklahoma, has the longer standing relationship with him and his family. Oregon has come in here kind of as the big track option for him late. Maryland is kind of the third school in this little group that's vying for his signature. So the question I would ask you, just tight ends in general. I don't know if we haven't had this discussion yet, because again, if this is a wide receiver, because tight end is certainly you've got everybody who calls into the post-game show, especially after a loss, and says, why didn't we throw more to the tight end?
He's always open.
Tight end's always open. Like, I get it. And South Carolina's had some really nice tight ends. Wesley Saunders was a good tight end, got caught up obviously in a mess, but had some really nice plays in his career. Jared Cook was a guy who was very good. I'm going to go back to your day, a very solid tight end, and Hart Turner. Was it Turner who made the big catch against Alabama in the comeback? Am I right on that, or am I?
Trafford made it in the end zone.
Rod Trafford made it.
Hart was that's interesting you say that. Hart wasn't obviously an Olympic track level guy, but Hart came in as a defensive end, moved to tight end. So he was that sort of body frame. He was a tremendous athlete.
Yeah, and so South Carolina during their days has produced, obviously, Rory Anderson was a really good tight end in the Spurrier era.
I've been on record. My favorite combination of players was when we had Hayden Hurst and Casey Crosby out there to say. I love that. I loved having those two on the field at the same time.
And obviously Hayden Hurst. So South Carolina's had a history of good tight ends, but I do wonder if there would be more around this in terms of what Nicholas Harbor could do, because I feel like the excitement is more about landing a 5-star prospect from outside of the area. I feel like a lot of people are like, well, what's he actually going to do on the field? Like, he's going to be practicing track and field? Is he going to come in and set the world on fire? He's not here for spring ball.
To be honest, that's my question too. I would like to know exactly what he's going to do. I understand he has all the intangibles and all of the skills and traits of a 5-star. I would like to know exactly what their plans are for him, and maybe you worry about that later. You just get him in the boat, and then you figure out what's going on later.
Well, and he's a big kid. I mean, 6'5", 230-ish, 225, 230-ish. J.C. Sherbert said yesterday on our program, maybe start him out at wide receiver. He's not a tight end. You're not asking him to get down there and block and do the things that tight ends also have to do. You're lining him up outside. You're throwing him jump balls. And with that speed, with that legitimate track speed, let him get out there against these bigger corners that are out there today. We'll get into that. I want to get into next with you what it feels like for a player-owned campus for National Signing Day. You mentioned it. Yeah, you had a little bit of a situation with that. Preston Thorne, defensive tackle, ready to maybe assume the starting position. Who are we signing?
The number one JUCO D tackle in the nation.
Why are we doing this? I'm here. I'm ready to take over.
This is great.
I want to get into that. It's an interesting just look on the flip side of signing day when you talk about players already on campus. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? Oh, I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Spring is almost here. Today is February 1st. It is going to fly. January for 31 days flew by. February is going to absolutely zip by. And before you know it, it's going to be time to be outside barbecuing and working on your cannonballs. That's right. Jumping into the pool, seeing how big of a splash you can make. And to be honest, you should be able to make a bigger splash than your 9-year-old daughter and 6-year-old son. But if your pool is dirty, if you're looking at it this morning, you're having a cup of coffee and you're looking outside, you're like, oh, got to get the pool cleaned. Good news for you. I've got just the company, Corley Pool Solutions. Give them a phone call today, 803-445-8109. Flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. Let a professional do it. Tracy Corley's been in business for over 20 years. Let me tell you, there is nobody better at showing up at your house and diagnosing how to get that pool clean within days so that you are ready for the big family barbecue. Maybe you just use it as an ambiance, you and the significant other sitting out back in the evening, just relaxing after a hard day of work, and you like having the fountains going. The pool can be used for so many different things, but if it's dirty, it's not really the great ambiance you want it. So call Corley Pool Solutions today, 803-445-8109. Again, flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. Corley Pool Solutions wants you to enjoy your pool and not worry about any surprises. They'll help you today. 803-445-8109. Call Corley Pool Solutions.
Attention RVers. The Columbia RV Expo is February 10th through 12th at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds. Find the best selection and best prices on RVs for all budgets. The options are endless. Details and discounts at ColumbiaRVExpo.com.
AAA Heating and Air is looking for dedicated applicants to fill their fast-growing service department with top-notch HVAC technicians. If you're the best, then they want you, and benefits include top industry salaries, commission on service and unit sales, health, dental, and vision benefits, and a 401k retirement plan. Plus, AAA Heating and Air provides a take-home vehicle and gas card, a cell phone, and a tablet. Check out their job postings on Facebook or ZipRecruiter.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zerorez. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119 plus a free hallway. Book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
I'm Taylor Bishotti with NFL Network now on the Westwood One Radio Network. We had a trade in the NFL, and it wasn't for a player. The Broncos agreed to send a 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 second-rounder to the Saints for the rights to hire Sean Payton as their next head coach. Payton already sounds like a big fan of Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson, telling NOLA.com, quote, Russell's a hard worker and has played at a high level and won a lot of games in this league. I'm excited about him. The Texans also found their new head coach, and he's a familiar face, DeMeco Ryans. The now former Niners defensive coordinator played linebacker for the Texans for 6 seasons, going to the Pro Bowl twice. Under Ryans, the Niners had the top-ranked defense in the league. San Francisco moving quickly to try and replace Ryans. They requested an interview with former Panthers interim head coach Steve Wilks for their D coordinator job. Wilks went 6-6 after Carolina fired Matt Rule following a 1-4 start. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, Maria in Miami, and Jules in Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is a firm that practices family law exclusively. We focus on only one area of the law to maximize our strength and effectiveness as advocates for clients that have everything on the line: their homes, retirement, savings, and most importantly, their children. We're the partner our clients count on. If we can be of help to you, give us a call.
Online at CordellCordell.com. 1201 Main Street, Suite 840, Columbia, South Carolina, 29201. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When a work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Couple accidents to let you know about this morning. I-26 westbound before exit 91. So a little bit of a slowdown there where the left lane is currently blocked. Also have a report of an accident, White Pond Road at I-20. Van Boakland Road at Garner's Ferry Road, an accident there. Forecast for today, we're looking for some clouds, 63 for the high, some rain tomorrow night, 52. Right now, 61 at 107.5 The Game.
What we're talking about on 1075 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
$6:39 on your National Signing Day Wednesday. Again, a day that's lost a little bit of its luster there because of just not the same as it is now with an early signing period. But back in the day, Preston, you know, we fans, even media, would get really fired up about National Signing Day. You're bringing in a new crop of players. New players are going to lead you to the next bigger and better thing, more than 8 wins, more than Gator Bowls, so forth and so on, more than Outback Bowls. This group is the next huge group. There's a flip side to that. As excited as we get, there's the players. And I think everybody says, well, they're college players. They're not paying attention to it. They don't care about signing day. They're college kids. What is it like to be on campus as a college player? I'm guessing some guys feel completely confident in their position, but now you how much do you think is paid? Is it specific to a person? Is everybody kind of noticing this signing class coming to walk us through what it's like to be a college player on a team as signing day comes up?
So it used to start with the visits,
right?
Because they'll usually pair you up with somebody who's in your position, and you're supposed to host them and show them such a great time around campus and show them what a wonderful place this is. And it's this weird catch-22 because if I show him how much of a great time this is, he's going to come here and he might take my position. So it starts with that. So then you're not necessarily paying attention to the recruiting wars, or it's not like you're on message boards. Maybe I wasn't, but you have eyes. And when you see Sean Smith, who can't fit through the door sideways, coming in, and you hear the stats. And back then it was even better because there were more rumors. So it's like, man, he played in JUCO. He had 58 sacks in junior college. You're like, what? He used to play running back. And then there was a grainy film running around with him playing running back in high school. It was like, this dude played running back. He had 58 sacks at JUCO. He's from Brooklyn. What are we going to do? And then you add on top of that, and I don't know if you've ever met Sean.
Sean, not to my knowledge, I don't think so.
Sean is one of those people who you're glad he's your friend, but you could see how somebody else, he might rub some other people the wrong way.
I've seen him on social media, so I mean,
he's also who you see on social media is 100% who he is. So I can see how that might be bracing for some people. So Sean comes in with all of his bluster, the SS Express, as he coined himself.
Okay.
So the SS Express is coming in. It's like, man, what is going on? And the interesting part is because the coaches have invested so much into this guy, they have to sort of give him opportunities. And so if you're second string, maybe hoping to push for first string. All of a sudden, maybe if you were getting 30 reps at practice, you might be getting 15. And they're like, hey, Sean, get in, Thorne. No, Thorne, stay here. And you see Sean running in, and you're like, oh, something's happening here. And it's a really interesting process. And that happens all the time. We sign Sean Smith, we sign Randy Jackson, you sign high school kids. Coach Strong is telling you during the meeting, hey, when we sign this kid out of Decatur, I'm telling you, Thorne, he's going to have your position. He was always joking, kind of, wink, wink, right? So there's always this sort of building, I don't say pressure, but you always know that somebody else is coming through the door, just like you came in through the door for somebody else. So it's inherent to the understanding the culture, but it's to let all those guys tell you, yeah, we're all family. We just want all these guys to come in. We want, oh no.
Did you pay attention to signing day? Or did you notice a lot of players? Because you just mentioned, okay, you notice obviously the people visiting, understandable because you're kind of hanging out with them and they're around. But did you pay attention on signing day? Or do you know a lot of players that did that would maybe say like, oh man, we got this. I'm trying to think of who may have come, like George Goss, I think came in at some point.
Big one.
Like
the key guy. So again, the players are pretty familiar with Nick Harbor for sure. But yeah, George Goss, and that's what sort of made it a little bit more fun back then because there wasn't as much information. So there's this dude from Conway. He's from Bucksport. He won the triple jump state championship. He's 6'5". He doesn't talk very much. Who is this guy? Oh, it's George Goss. Man, I've heard about this guy so much. And then you see him and you meet him and you realize how much a goofball all these dudes actually really are when you meet them in real life. But there was always some mystique around who these people were signing. George Goss was a huge one. Ricardo Hurley was a big one, where it's like because also at the time, especially for in-state guys, you're paying attention to in-state high school football. Because that's the number one thing that you do on Saturday mornings is everybody wakes up to see if your school won on Friday night, right? So, are you paying attention? So you're hearing about these guys. Ricardo Hurley was a big one. Demetrius Summers was another huge one. Those type of guys you are very familiar with. And then there might be say if there's a big guy from Georgia, but you're not necessarily familiar with, there might be some other guys from Georgia and be like, yeah, man, I know that kid or I know that town. They got some ballers out there. So it's all kind of talking through back channels where you find out who's who and what's what.
I guess this is where you find out really, and I say you or maybe the coaches find out who's really dedicated in winter workouts, because this is your opportunity. Okay, yeah, we're bringing in this big guy, this big name guy, and maybe you've taken notice of it. You think, all right, I've got time to beat him before he even gets on campus. And
not even.
Really?
You're not even during winter workouts. It's only about survival.
Really?
You ain't thinking about who else is coming in. It's like, can I get through this day or this moment? That other dude will come in later in the spring or in the summertime. But winter workouts is just, you're not even. You hadn't even made it that far yet. Your brain can only see one day at a time, one foot in front of the other.
What is it like to be in a recruiting class for a lot of us? Like you see now, and I know it was different back then because you didn't have the group text messages and you didn't have Facebook or Twitter where you could all kind of, but was it, you see these kids and they kind of bond and it's like, all right, this is our class, which I always kind of find entertaining because like this is like Dante Reno's moment. He's the quarterback of the class. A couple years ago, it was Luke Doty. He was the quarterback of the class. Braden Davis, was it 2 years ago, was the quarterback, or last year, or 2 years ago, whatever. He was the quarterback of the class. And that's like, you're the quarterback. I'm the leader. All right, everybody, let's get together for Twitter workouts or face. What was it like for you guys back in the day in terms of, all right, we are the class?
There's definitely that feeling of this is our little thing amongst the organization, right? So it's our guys. And back then we were all at the Shrine Bowl together. So it was sort of like, these are the Clemson guys, these are the Carolina guys. We're sort of starting to bond. Then from there, locally you start to hang out with each other. Obviously I became friends with Jonathan Austin, who I didn't find, he lived 10 minutes away from me, but because we hated Stratford so much, I would never talk to him. I would never be caught dead talking to anybody who lived on the other side of 26. So we actually found out we were on the same road 10 minutes away and became really great friends. You hang out with those guys on the low country. Then when you come to school, those are the guys that you because you're still, and I don't know, it's probably different now, but you're still freshmen at the end of the day. So it's a lot. There's a lot of things that the upperclassmen are doing that the freshmen are like, "Hey guys, can I come hang out with you guys?" And I'm like, "Get out of here, freshmen." So the freshmen still have to sort of bond in that way because you're not into the same things that maybe a junior or a senior is into.
Not visiting 5 Points just yet. It's
No,
not
you can't.
not as much facial hair on 17, 18-year-old Preston Thorne.
Hey guys, can we come hang out at 5 Points? Get out of here.
803-404-6100. We will finish up this hour, a little recruiting recap. There is some not great news for South Carolina today. I'll give you that. And we'll get into Nicholas Harbor a little bit more, as well as a wide receiver commitment South Carolina will add later today, probably coming up sometime during the show, I would imagine. That national letter of intent will be sent in. We'll also get into Preston's memories of what it was like. He says apparently they made him sign in a closet, in a broom closet. Get on in there, Thorne. Get your paperwork signed. We got other people over here. John McKissick was like, we're all about the poor you. You were the freshman going in that nobody cared about, and the senior leaving that McKissick didn't care. You'd done your work.
That's part of being a part of the factory, man. Just roll all through.
Just get on out of here. Get on out of here, Thorne. We got more players coming through Summerville. Don't worry about it. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Have you missed any of the early game?
You can catch up by going to the early game on demand page at 1075thegame.com.
Or by downloading our 1075 The Game app on iTunes or Google Play.
Staying warm. That is a big piece to me. Preston's learning each and every day. Preston's learning just how much I hate being cold. I'm sorry, what? Did you sneeze?
I sneezed.
Your mic was on. It's odd that she sneezes wimp, but family must hate that the way you just, all right, I get it. That's fine. Let me just tell you about AAA Heating and Air. They've helped me stay warm. They have helped me from, as Jen would sneeze, being a wimp. They have been there for me and my family. The heat went out a couple of years ago on like the day after Christmas. AAA Heating and Air was there to make sure everything was working great because they offer a 15-year parts and labor warranty. That's right. If you're in the market for a brand new heating and air unit, AAA Heating and Air will make sure you are taken care of because the first thing they do is offer you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. They're saving you money. Then they guarantee financing for everyone, not just those of you with great credit. Anybody can get a brand new heating and air unit. They can get new comfort in your home as soon as tomorrow by making a phone call today. And again, you just heard me mention it, that 15-year parts and labor warranty. They're not just installing a brand new heating and air unit and running off and disappearing into the night. They are sticking with you, making sure that heating and air unit continues to work. That's the beauty of the 15-year parts and labor warranty AAA Heating and Air offers. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. Contact AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Sponsored by Pfizer. When temperatures drop, COVID-19 cases may rise. So if you test positive and are at high risk, act fast. Even if your symptoms feel mild, ask your provider if an authorized oral treatment could be right for you. Visit treatcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
With approved credit bank determined down payment, call 866-243-4623 for details. The legend of JT began in 1991 when rumor has it that a man with a 300 credit score was able to buy a new car. More than 3 decades later, JT of JT's Jeep Ram in Lexington has helped thousands of people get the new vehicle they need. You too can join JT's Credit Restart. It's easy. If you take home $400 per week and have a steady job, you too could join the thousands JT has helped and drive the new Jeep or Ram of your dreams. JT's Jeep Ram Lexington, jtsjeepram.com. President's Day sales event.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to finish. We're people with a passion for helping injured workers. Bring your case to us and stop the worrying. We've got this.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of paying over MSRP for new vehicles? Then come to Herndon Chevrolet and smile with a great selection of new Chevrolets on the ground at invoice pricing. We have new Chevrolets starting at only $23,998. Visit your hometown Chevy dealer today or find new roads online at herndonchevy.com. Call 864-262-6760 for complete details.
The Hook and Ladder has been a Firehouse Subs original since day one. It's piled high with Virginia honey ham, smoked turkey breast, and melted Monterey Jack. To top it off, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. That's why at Firehouse Subs, they don't just make subs, they make subs that are big, bold, and craveable. They make their subs differently because their subs make a difference. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
All right, today is Wednesday, February 1st, and your First Alert traffic looking pretty good right now. We're seeing our typical slow spots, but no major incidents to report on any of our interstates, like on 26 or 77 or even 20. But watch out for some fog this morning and some wet roadways. I would certainly budget in some extra time if you can. Again, watch out for that spray from any of those vehicles in front of you. Take it a little easier this morning. I'm First Alert meteorologist Kevin Arnaud.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Eight 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning. We will give away some basketball tickets coming up in the next hour or two. We'll talk about the game last night, South Carolina falling to Mississippi State 66-51. Gamecocks fall to 8-14, 1-8 in conference play. Josh Gray actually with a solid night last night, 6 points, 14 rebounds. We'll talk about that. We discussed a little bit yesterday as in terms of what South Carolina needs to do to win a basketball game, and we'll get back into that. Also let you listen to a little bit of Lamont Paris coming up in hour number 2. Also want to let you know Spencer Rattler will join the Gamecock Central Takeout. He will be in studio for the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour next Tuesday, February the 7th, between 11 a.m. and noon. So make sure you set your calendars accordingly. Spencer Rattler will be here at 107.5 The Game in studio next Tuesday between 11 a.m. and noon, hanging out for the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Again, recruiting news for today. We're waiting on Nicholas Harbor, the number 19 prospect in the country. He will make his announcement on ESPN sometime after 1 o'clock. Preston, you know how those things go. It's not going to be right on at 1 o'clock. You're going to have some school administrators who want to talk. You're going to probably have a teacher that wants to thank all 97 students she's taught all year long and then thank Nicholas Harbor. So it's not going to be right at 1 o'clock. South Carolina today will not sign Xavion Hardy. He will sign elsewhere, according to multiple reports from both Gamecock Central and thebigspur.com. Will likely be a junior college that he will go to and will remain in play for South Carolina in a few years. The Gamecocks are expecting a letter of intent from Elijah Caldwell. I will keep an eye on Twitter. Don't expect a whole lot of big news there. Caldwell out of Northwestern. You played against kids from the upstate. It's a different breed down there. I was just thinking your class featured you, Langston Moore, Rasheem Monroe out of Hanahan. You mentioned Jonathan Austin. It was a real low country presence in your class.
Yeah, the Low Country was strong heavy, but Rock City is different type of football up there in Rock Hill for sure.
So South Carolina will get at least one letter of intent coming in today. Elijah Caldwell, 6 foot, 195-pound receiver, ranked as the number 89 wide receiver overall in the class of 2023. He's the number 9 player in the state of South Carolina. Originally was committed to West Virginia, but flipped his commitment about a week ago. So he will send in his letter of intent. We'll keep an eye on that for you this morning. Expect that to kind of be in by 9 a.m. We will get to some basketball discussion in hour 2 and back into some more Preston Thorne recruiting stories as well. It's the early game. I want to simplify the game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game, a Cumulus media station.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Milk, eggs, $42. Ma'am, you okay?
Need bucks? With Jackson Hewitt, don't wait weeks for the IRS to send your tax refund. Come in now for up to $3,500 with a no interest, no fee refund advance loan when you file your taxes. That's up to $3,500 today. Don't let high prices get you down. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes. So get to Jackson Hewitt today. For eligible clients, loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Nachos! Yeah, you nachos!
Hey, I'll take some.
Great. And some Frank's Red Hot.
Oh, nah, I'm good.
Oh, you're just going to eat these dry, plain, boring nachos with no Franks. Seriously? Frank it up. Frank it up. Come on, lady. Frank it up. Frank it up. Frank it up. Yeah! Yeah, this guy finally gets it. Hey, look, we're on the Jumbotron.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
Man, I did not need this today. Hey, Serena, call Schroeder's Towing.
Okay, finding Boaters Rowing.
No, stop. Call Schroeder's Towing.
Sorry, I can't find Rotors Crowing.
Oh, jeez. When you need help fast, call Schroeder's Towing anytime. 772-7930. In fact, put it on speed dial. 8 locations and 21 trucks to serve you fast 24/7. And don't drink and drive. Schroeder's will take you and your car home. 772-7930.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When a work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
At Kroger, we want our fresh produce to meet your expectations, which is why we're dedicated to doing up to a 27-point inspection on our fruits and veggies, checking for things like scarring. In fact, only the best produce like zesty oranges and crisp carrots reach our shelves. Because when it comes to fresh, our higher standards mean fresher produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by the power of Love Chevrolet. While the other dealers are scrambling for slick new catchphrases, we're doubling down on who we are and what we do. Honesty, transparency, and utmost integrity. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game.
With Bill Gunter.
We are food lovers on this program. That's why I work out.
This is part of the reason I felt like I was home.
We are food lovers. One of the big, great debates of our time has been bacon. Is bacon allowed to be microwaved? Microwave bacon, yes or no?
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
That's a firm no.
Okay, good. He said, there we go.
That's a firm and executive no.
And Jen Jensen.
Will you bake it?
That's been my preferred method as I've gotten older, and I'm wondering why my parents, my grandmother, I know there's a certain appeal to cooking it in the skillet, but it just feel like you just throw it in the oven and then it's done.
You know, in the summertime though, if you're turning on the oven, then it's kind of heating up the house and
Okay.
stuff like that.
At my grandfather's house, they didn't need any help making the house any hotter because there was only one air conditioner in a room, and the house was just ablaze from about 10 o'clock through the rest of the day.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
.702 on your Wednesday morning. Been talking a lot of recruiting with Preston Thorne in the first hour, as it is, I guess, the second National Signing Day. Again, we kind of jumped off talking about some of our old war stories. Mine obviously doesn't involve signing any piece of paper. A lot different. I've covered it. I've followed it as a recruit, or excuse me, as a both a media person and as a fan, but I've never actually signed anything. Preston, what do you remember? Like, we were kind of joking. I think we were joking. The more I've joked about it, the less I feel like you're joking. Like, what do you remember about your National Signing Day? What that would have been? That was February of 2020, correct? You're 2020, February of 2000, right? That was first Wednesday.
That's correct.
I mean, it was something special. John McKissick. I don't think there's another, like, I know in the fall, it's like baseball, basketball. There's a bunch of sports that can sign together. It's like one big ceremony. Football, I don't think there's any other signing days today, like soccer or anything. What do you remember 23 years ago?
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot of fanfare. It wasn't a big deal. We sort of went into Coach McKissick's office and talked to the secretary, whose name I'm blanking on, and I feel ashamed of myself because that's who you owe. You know, obviously, that's who actually runs the building and does all the work. So she had my paperwork ready and got your work. My mother came to the school. We signed our papers.
At least have a deli platter of like anything you'd walk out and.
We signed our papers, and coach said, "Congratulations, come to the weight room. You got baseball practice later." that was pretty much. It wasn't a huge ceremony. Honestly, it was not a lot of ceremony.
What is it like? What was it like for you? What is it like for kids when they wake up? We'll probably do this again to you in December on the early signing day.
Yes.
But what is it like to wake up for those of us who've never experienced that and go, all right, everything I've worked for, from Pee-wee football through, I mean, obviously you're entering what is essentially the next chapter of your life. Now you got to work harder because you're at the college level. But what was it like for you? Remember that day looking at your mom, looking at family, like, okay, I'm going to college. I'm going to be a football player.
Yeah. It was really cool. I honestly, it was really cool, especially during that time in my life personally, because my father had passed away during my senior year of high school. And so it was really cool to sort of have that culmination of that moment that we had all worked for at that time. So my mother was really proud. My family was really, really proud. And on top of that, and that's why I always talk about Summerville, the community was really gathered around, and you kind of get a chance to walk around the community. Everybody's telling you congratulations, and they're really proud of you. And that's something that you, especially when you come from communities like that, it's something that you really feel sort of, you really kind of embrace that idea. So it's a culminating moment. And I've been on the other side too as a coach, and that's even better because you get a chance to see somebody that you've worked with sign up and get a chance to go live their dream. So it really is a special day for all the folks that are involved on these days.
So we will continue to talk about that throughout the morning. Certainly get Preston's memories of that, and then I kind of enjoy just hearing some of his memories of recruiting, of National Signing Day. I've got a bunch of them. Just a lot of interesting experiences going around. As worked for ESPN and then BigSpur.com. Again, I've mentioned it. It was this day probably. I'd have to go back and look. I declare it as Justin Parker Vic Hampton Day, where we had gone. I think I am telling this story correctly. A lot of those days start to run together. But I believe, and I'll go back and look and just confirm if what I'm remembering is correctly. It was myself. It was John Whittle. It was Dana Harley. I believe we had Josh Lowe with us. We were working for the Big Spur at the time. And this is how it would go. Like, for media now, it's a lot easier for Wes and Chris and Hell McGranahan and those guys nowadays. but I want to say it was about the 2010 class. And we had gone down to Bamberg. Yes, I am right on this. We had gone down to Bamberg bright and early in the morning for AJ Cann's signing ceremony. It was the four of us. We were working Big Spur, so we're covering South Carolina and not national or anything. But we go down, and AJ's family was great. They had a little ceremony kind of in a conference room, and then everybody went to the library. I was done with my work. I'd done the video production on some stuff. I was done, so I'm just hanging out talking to AJ's father. And they had a nice little food spread, kind of a breakfast spread.
Okay.
And that was it. So everybody stopped working instantly, and the four moron media people are, just chowing down on the food, and the families over there like, maybe we should have made this a private ceremony. But we did that. I think we made a few other stops, and then we ended up at a Pizza Hut. I believe back in Bamberg or Edisto, kind of in that area.
Correction, the Pizza Hut.
Yeah, in that area around 1:00. And that day, the big one for South Carolina was Justin Parker, the linebacker out of Buford. He was the linebacker out of Buford that day, and it had come down to South Carolina and Clemson. Apparently, at Shrine Bowl, it had gone back and forth. South Carolina players had thought they'd convinced him to come. Clemson players thought they'd convinced him to come, and nobody knew. And you talk about the fun of signing day. This is what I really remember about it. Justin Parker and Buford had kept everything very close to the vest, and nobody knew. Well, covering for the University of South Carolina, if covering for the Big Spur, the South Carolina website, if he was going to announce for South Carolina, we needed to be there to bring it to our subscribers. We needed to be there on site, have the video, get the interviews, talk to the coach, talk to the family, get everything.
Need to be in Buford?
It had to be in Buford. This is how, years back, this is how it was. Like,
I get it.
Covering, working. This is pre-radio for me, but we had to be there. So I'll never forget, we went to a Pizza Hut, and we're like camped out. We're just the Pizza Hut buffet. We were winning, like just destroyed. We're just waiting to find out. And JC and I believe Tony Morrell were working the phone lines trying to figure out, because if Justin Parker's like, we need to get to Darlington, so we're going complete opposite direction. We got to get to Darlington because Vic Hampton's signing at 4:00. So we hung out there, and finally, I think it was about 1:45, 2:00. Word came down, he's gonna sign with Clemson. Clemson's gonna get him, and so we hopped in whatever 4Runner or Tahoe or whatever we had, and boogied on up to Darlington. But those to me are the good memories of you're on the road on national signing. That's the way it was. That's not the way it is today. Even announcements, very rarely going back to early signing day, do you get some kind of interesting announcement where a kid has kept it this close to the vest up until the last minute.
Yeah, it's really interesting because they have so many conversations with folks like Gamecock Central, Big Spur, et cetera, et cetera. We have 3 or 4 different organizations just for this school.
Right.
So then the other school has 3 or 4 different organizations. And then you have to figure out, who did I tell what to who, or who knows what? May have slipped up and said something here that I didn't say. And it's a lot of conversations that are happening at the time. I was just thinking that Buford, they had a cluster of talent at that time, right? So they had Justin, was Jimmy Legree around that same time.
Yep.
Devin was around that same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always interesting how different parts of the state you can have just a cluster of talent come through, sort of, and see how that happens. But yeah, signing day is different now, and that's what I'm saying. And when I remember when I was teaching in schools, I was teaching and coaching, and it would just be consistently refresh. What's going on? Who's signing where? And you would have all of us on staff, all of us, and even the students would be involved. It really was like a sort of a fun time. I guess it's sort of anticlimactic now with the amount of folks who wait till now to sign.
Are we still using fax machines?
I think they say that, but I would assume.
I would assume it's scanned and emailed. I'm assuming a scan and email process is happening
in a
here.
dot loop world, or DocuSign.
Yeah, I'm assuming that would be how it kind of
would be my guess. Just was curious, if there's still just one fax machine on campus just for signing day.
The challenge would be if you gave a piece of paper to one athlete signing a day and told them, "Here, use this fax machine." Do you think they had any chance of getting that?
That would just be fun to watch, huh?
Because even when I used to look at a fax machine, I'm like, okay, what now?
Right.
Does what?
I think I could use a fax. The way I send faxes through another business is you scan it and you email it. Like I just in the email, and the receipt line, I type in the phone number and then put a little header in the subject line and just
No, it
hit
used to
send.
be where you put it in the
I'm
machine
talking about
and
putting
then
it
had
in.
to
Yeah.
dial the
Then you gotta
number
put it
on
in
the
backwards.
machine. Yep.
Yeah,
I think I
all of
actually did used to send faxes back. Anyway, that's a long time
The
ago. and
thermal paper comes in where
now-
eventually if you put it next to anything too hot, it kind of fades away or it turns
Uh-huh.
black. So
Yes.
that's the way to get out of their contract.
There's a lot of middle schoolers right now. Middle school, not elementary. Middle schoolers are asking mom or dad in the car, Dad, what's a fax machine? What
See,
are they
that's
talking
where,
about?
That's
Are
where you're
they?
mistaken because this high schoolers, maybe even college. I would.
Well,
like to ask
I'm
my
assuming the
college
high schoolers are driving themselves, but yeah, if they're riding, they're probably like, Mom, Dad, what are these old people on the? What have you got us listening to here on the radio this
Hey, this is
morning?
called history, my friend.
Son, let me tell you about the fax machine.
803.
We used to sit around the fax machine like a campfire and wait for the paper to come through.
It's true. I think it would magically pop up. It'd always be coupons. Coupons. It's like, oh, okay. Good. I need another mattress, 15% off. How about that? All right. 803-404-6100 here as we cut up on National. It is National Signing Day again. I mentioned it. South Carolina will await the announcement of Nicholas Harbor later today. And Chip on our live stream hit me up and said, did I miss the not good news? Yeah. The one bad thing, South Carolina will not sign or will not enroll, I should say. Who knows? You can sign wherever. Let me remind everybody of this one thing going on with signing day. The new rule is you can sign as many kids as you want. We're kind of seeing this Deion Sanders, both transfer portal and recruits. You can sign as many players as you want to sign. The problem or the new rule is when you get to fall camp, you can't have more than 85.
I feel like I need a little bit more time to digest it. Can we come back on the other side and can you break that down for me?
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
trying
give you
to figure that out.
That is because the transfer portal is still open, and you may see today teams that have signed. I'll have to look and see what Deion Sanders has got going at this current moment in time. I know he has flipped Cormani McClain, who is the top-rated player in the country that has not signed to date. All the other top players like Arch Manning is number one. He's signed. I think he's already at Texas. But that is the new rule. I'll break that down for you just for those of you today that are looking. So all I'm saying is Xavion Hardy may end up signing with South Carolina, but then going to junior college, whatever it is, he will not be at South Carolina in the fall. That's the not good news. He is more than likely to sign with a junior college today. So if you notice that later, don't be too distraught by that. He'll be back in the recruiting portal here in about 2 years after junior college. But that is the one downside today for South Carolina. They will not get Xavion Hardy. They will get Elijah Caldwell, and we'll see what happens with Nicholas Harper. I'll get back into that numbers thing for you real quick for those of you today that noticed that, because that may catch a few people off guard and think some shenanigans is taking place. But the new scholarship rule that I'll point out. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gotta take.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Keeping a clean home, that is, staying warm, number one, extremely important. Two, keeping a clean home, that's the second most important thing in my life. A nice, clean, warm home. That's exactly what I need. That's why Zero Rest comes into play each and every time after the kids have been over, after they've tracked dirt and mud and all the kind of things that kids bring into your house. Last night, Austin coming home from soccer practice, as you would expect, there was grass everywhere. He had just tracked it in on his shoes, on his socks, and apparently he rolled around in the grass for a little while. Not sure why. Carpets, rugs, tile, all very dirty. Guess what? I'll be calling later today to schedule an appointment. It will be Zero Res. You can make that phone call as well. 803-262-4020, or you can again schedule with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com. With their patented ZR water technology, Zero Res is guaranteed to keep your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery all cleaner for longer. And right now, you want to skip the rush on cards, chocolates, and flowers. Get a great Valentine's Day gift, the gift of cleanliness. You can make your home insanely clean. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119 plus. If, again, you mention me, Bill Gunner, 1075 The Game. Get a hallway cleaned for free. Book online, zerorescolumbia.com, or give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Zero S, spell it forwards or backwards. Either way, it's the right way to clean.
This is Zach Gelb with the CBS Sports Minute. When the Texans hired David Culley, you knew he wasn't going to be their long-term head coach. When the Texans hired Lovie Smith, it was that same feeling. Now the Texans got one of the hottest names on the market in their former linebacker in D'Amico Ryans to coach the team. Ryans was a great defensive coordinator in San Francisco, and we'll see how he does as a head coach, but I'm happy that the Texans fans can finally feel that they got their guy to start in turning around the franchise. I'm Zach Gelb.
At Staples, you can count on every project being print perfect, guaranteed.
I need presentations and brochures printed, and they have to be perfect.
Your bounded presentations, brochures with the finest folds, and more will be done right every time. That's our Print Big promise. Now at Staples, get $10 off your document printing and marketing materials order of $50 or more, plus 20% back via store bonus. Try Staples and see the difference. Ends 2/25. Rewards members only. Bonus must be redeemed in store. See staples.com/stores/printbig for details.
Every pro is an MVP to us. As a Lowe's MVP's rewards member, you can earn bonus points when you shop select products and brands. Then redeem them for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, e-gift cards, and more. Join today to become a member and start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Points expired end of calendar year. Visit Lowe's.com/MVP's bonus points for details.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. There's plenty of gold to go around on the Gold Rush series of scratch-offs with top prizes of $200,000 and $300,000. Players can choose from a $5 and $10 prize point, and all non-winning tickets are eligible for a $100,000 second chance prize. See SCEducationLottery.com for game details.
Luke Bryan's Country On Tour with special guests Chase Beckham, Ashley Cook, Haley Witters, and DJ Rock. Saturday, October 28th, Credit One Stadium, Charleston. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. Before the general public on sale Friday. Get tickets at LiveNation.com. Luke Bryan's Country On Tour, presented by Live Nation.
Jay Phillips here for my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got them, they work well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. John at Dan's Fan City wants to remind you to make your ceiling fan move in reverse this time of year to keep the heat off the ceiling. See John for any questions and for all of your ceiling fan needs. Go to Dan's Fan City in Harbison or call him at 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tara, quote, "My doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver," unquote. She's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
If I had to name the top 5 Yankee killers, first one, George Brett. Yeah. Number 2, Edgar Martinez. Manny Ramirez. Altuve's a current Yankee killer, to the point where we're talking about buzzers and whatever, and because we're trying to figure out how and why. But Devers, he's got that on his resume, pal.
Yeah, 19 home runs in 87 games.
Lord.
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
Get the right care at the right place. Visit Lexington Medical Center's convenient urgent care centers for minor illnesses and injuries, and use our emergency room for emergencies. Go to lexmed.com/care now to know where to go for the care you need now.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
We have a report of a disabled vehicle where the right lane is currently blocked. I-26 westbound, just west of exit 97. Also an accident to let you know about. White Pond Road at I-20. Van Boakland Road at Garner's Ferry Road.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Reminder, later today, 2 o'clock, right here on 107.5 The Game, Shane Beamer will hold his signing day press conference. I'm actually interested to hear this, Preston, because Shane's already talked about the majority of the class. So you're actually probably going to get some interesting updates on guys that are already enrolled that he can talk about. Desmond Yumi Zulu, look, we all know the defensive end position is one that's up in the air. Obviously, with Jordan Birch's transfer, with Gilbert Edmonds' transfer, not being able to get Trajan Jeffcoat into school. So I say this because you're not going to have a 7-minute press conference where he talks about Nicholas Harbor and Elijah Caldwell, and then everybody goes home. You're kind of out of stuff to talk about as it pertains to this recruiting class. What can be asked is, all right, what is your thoughts and opinions? Like, what are you hearing on guys like Montague Rames, a guy that J.C. Sherbert is very high on at the defensive end position? What are you hearing on Desmond Yumi Zulu? How are these young guys? How's Grayson Howard adjusting to, the winter workouts? What is Luke Day telling you about what he's seeing? How is, while Shane Beamer cannot comment on the 2024 class, how is that going? I would expect today that we're probably going to hear about the first practice of spring ball. I would assume that that's what we're going to hear about. So I am interested. You want to tune in 2 o'clock today here on 107.5 The Game, because as it pertains to recruiting, there's not much to talk about. It's not going to be a 30-minute press conference on how great Nicholas, if he does sign, how great Nicholas Harbor is. There's going to be some football discussion in there as well.
As you was talking, I was thinking, all right, first off, does Shane know right now? That leads to my next question.
In my having covered this, generally by now, the winning coaching staff knows. That's not always the case, and it may very well be. Now, I'm going to base this on the fact that from everybody I've talked to, the Harbor family seems to be on the up and up. Like, there's been no shenanigans. No matter if you look at the family.
Harbor no ill will.
What? We have other stuff we have to talk about. Otherwise, I would end the show right now. I would turn this car around and go right back home after that joke, young lady. But
good shot. Good shot. Keep shooting.
Just
keep shooting.
Yeah. No more today. Go home and think about what you've done. I think they know. I think that family would understand. Again, the father played soccer for the U.S. soccer team. The mother was a great athlete. Like, they're an intellectual family. That I'd be shocked if they've played some mind games. I'm not trying to put down
I got
Jay Sean Barham from last year, but I'd be shocked if that's how it went. With that being said, I know instances where coaching staffs have zero clue going into, like, Nicholas could call the coaching staffs this morning at 11 o'clock and be like, hey, good news. I'm coming to play for you. I got to call the other three and tell them I'm not coming. I'll holler at you later.
That's a tough call to make. Now, that leads to my second question. Is Shane preparing like an A-B speech for this 2 o'clock meeting? Is he like, okay, this is going to be my speech if and when Nick signs with us? this is going to be my speech. And does he have to cross out some things or add some different? What do you think his preparation process is?
I think he knows.
Okay.
I think he knows. You know, it's going to be a positive speech either way.
Yeah, of course.
The thing here, and I've said this before, there were opportunities. Dabo Swinney has done it as good as anybody I've ever seen at promoting your school, promoting the Clemson brand and everything about there, and really selling people, especially early on how great Clemson was. And I noticed it. I never noticed it more than when Will Muschamp took the job at South Carolina and he brought his team out before he'd ever coached a game, and they were at Colonial Life Arena being honored during at halftime of a basketball game. And you might remember this. Sky Moore had announced he was coming back. Now, at that time, we didn't know Sky Moore was going to miss that season and turn around for the next season. But I remember at that time, Dabo Swinney, again, had done an incredible job of getting the message out about how great the Clemson program was, the community, everything about it. So Will Muschamp, in like one of his first true public appearances, has got Sky Moore standing there. And if he'd have said, like, hey, this guy could have gone pro. It doesn't matter where he was going to be drafted or what was going to happen. Sky Moore was a known name and had a big year in Steve Spurrier's final year. And he said, if this guy could have gone pro, but he sees what we're about, he sees what we're building, he sees the chances that he has to play for this staff, and he sees how great you, the fan base, are. Like, it was a speech that Dabo Swinney would have given. It could have been the backup center at Clemson, and Swinney would have pointed out, like, this guy's coming back.
He had a chance to go to.
He could have transferred to Presbyterian University, but he's coming back to Clemson, and he's going to be, because you guys are great. And Muschamp's like, yeah, we got some players coming back, and we'll see you in the spring. And I thought, man, you really missed an opportunity to sell your program. Shane Beamer won't miss that today.
That's called foreshadowing.
Yeah. Shane Beamer won't miss that today. He will,
of course.
If indeed they sign Nicholas Harbor, that press conference will be about how great South Carolina is and how a national recruit, a top 20 national recruit, sees something in the development of the team, of the program. He sees a culture. That's where I think Shane Beamer truly gets it, because I think I don't like giving Dabo credit for anything.
Give it up.
But he sold that program to the max by convincing others it's a great place to be. It's family oriented. And yes, Shane Beamer has taken a page out of that playbook, and it is working.
And I'll take a step further. And I know where I am, and I know where we stand. But not only did he sell the program, but he was selling. You know, they say sometimes you practice what you preach, but he was preaching what they practice. That's actually what they were doing up there. So it was evident. It wasn't that he was doing a sales job. He was doing what they actually do. And that would be the same case here if Shane was to take that route and sort of expand upon what they do, building on culture, because those are the things that people are going to be signing up for when they sign to be part of this program.
Let me get to a couple of these text messages here. A couple of y'all are weighing in. Alan weighs in. Does anyone at 107.5 know what time Harbor is going to announce? Yeah, I've said it. I know you don't listen all morning. But
one more time.
He will announce on ESPN sometime after 1 o'clock. And I only say sometime because they're doing a television ceremony. It's going to start at 1 o'clock. Again, I'm sure that some school administrators will talk. So if you're trying to be specific, tune in at 1 o'clock and watch the whole thing on ESPN. Again, some of you are asking, when is Harbor expected to announce? This one also coming in. Anonymous texter says, when and where is Franks from Greenville High School going to sign? He'll sign next year. He's a 2014. He's talking about Blake Franks, big offensive lineman, 6'6", 310 pounds. South Carolina Clemson appear to be closer to the leader, but Blake Franks is the big offensive lineman there for Greenville High School, along with Mazio Bennett. But they're in the 2024 class, if that's who you're referring to. So Blake Franks will not sign. Harry asks, whatever happened to the kid that signed with Florida, didn't get his NIL money, and now wants to leave? Well, he's gotten his he doesn't have to sign today. Jaden Rashada is who Harry is referring to. Jaden Rashada is still taking visits. He could officially commit today, but correct me if I'm 95% certain what I'm about to say is correct. He will not sign another letter of intent. He's already done it once, and he's gotten his release. He will now just enroll in the school of his choice, kind of as a transfer would moving forward. So he may not actually make a decision until April or May, or I guess technically unless there's some mid-semester classes he could roll in. He won't enroll until the summer.
He'll wait till summer 1.
Yeah, so there's that as well. 803-404-6100. Real quick, well, I tell you, we'll get to this question on the other side. It's an interesting little question for Preston about a cluster of talent coming out of a certain specific area. And this particular texter wants to hear you discuss what causes that.
Yeah, that's a great conversation.
We'll get into that a little bit as we continue to roll, and we will get into some of the basketball as well. Last night, South Carolina dropping a 66-51 decision, but it's National Signing Day, and we continue to wait for the announcement of Nicholas Harbor. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
With approved credit and bank determined down payment, call 888-320-6359 for details. The legend of JT began in 1991 when rumor has it that a man with a 300 credit score was able to buy a new car. More than 3 decades later, JT of JT's Kia has helped thousands of people get the new vehicle they need. You too can join JT's Credit Restart. It's easy. If you take home $400 per week and have a steady job, you too could join the thousands JT has helped and drive the new Kia of your dreams. JT's Kia on Killian Commons Road. JT'sKia.com.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products.
Y'all got to remember, you got to tweet at Preston. You have to tweet at Preston. That's why I've got the scroller down here. You got to tell him to get himself on live stream. But he's easing his way in, I think, to the show. He's easing his way in. No, Preston's just he's easing. It's kind of like in football where you have the acclimation period. The first 2 days are just just helmets. The next 2 days are just shoulder pads, and then acclimation. Yeah, where he's in the acclimation period. We're not just turning him loose on y'all just yet, or turning y'all loose on him. We're acclimating him to Jen and I before we put him on the live stream. We got a ways to go.
Yeah, that's a lot. Just to deal with us.
Yeah. But you can tweet at him and tell him,
Technically, Bill could flip his camera around and just get a quick shot of Preston.
I got to make a phone call real quick. So.
Oh, look at that! Now I get to talk for a second.
There.
There he is.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yay!
Well, where am I looking?
There.
You're doing a good job.
We're becoming acclimated. We're getting there slowly but surely.
Wait till they start making you do hair and makeup.
Then I'm going to have to get the lighting right in here. Make sure I get my ring light behind me.
There you go.
Get everything correct.
I don't have all that either. So imagine how fantastic I could look if I had all of the right stuff. Oh, shoot. That's not up to date. Eeks. There we go. Sorry, don't mind me talking about myself. Or talking to myself in here. I'm working on the NASCAR picks. I have a spreadsheet that's for every week, so I'm getting Preston in there. So I'm kind of having to redo a little bit. We're very official here.
I'm gonna need a briefing. I'm gonna need to know. I need to know. I don't care about the cars. I need to know the people that I need to cheer for when we get into our NASCAR picks. Okay. I need to know who's the villain, who's the good guy, who's the. Yeah. I need to know all the personalities.
All the ins and outs in that. Yeah, it's fun. It's just a fun sport in that respect. It's pretty family oriented. Yeah, you do have your villains like Kyle Busch. Everybody, loves to hate him. Yeah, Bubba Wallace has his moments, he seems to be a good guy, but just can get his temper. I think he's just young, so he got kind of crappy last year a little bit, but a lot of potential there, and maybe he'll settle in. He just got married, so that might chill him out, where he has a better season.
That seems to be the word for him is potential, right? I think he kind of was more maybe not overblown, but he hasn't lived up to his potential yet.
I don't think yet. Yeah, but I think there is potential. There's Denny Hamlin, kind of love to hit. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I will say it's kind of fun sport. We'll get you to where you're liking it. Hopefully.
And everything starts with Daytona coming up, right? That's the first one.
Yep, that's the first one coming up
Was
on
that
the.
in it's always really close to All Star, NBA All Star. It's like right. Is it
Oh
like in
yeah,
the next 2 weeks
February
or so?
19th. So yeah, yep.
How you doing? How's it going, brother? You good? How's it going? Cool. Okay, you driving you crazy yet?
No, we still made it. We made it 3 days. So
I was going to say 3 days in so far. Ain't goes nuts yet.
we're still here.
Cool.
That'd be
Good
scary.
deal, dude. You have a few minutes, like 5 minutes on Friday after 9. Yeah. I can steal you for a few seconds. Yeah, sure. All right, cool. Good deal. What do you think this kid? You think this kid's going up to South Carolina?
Big secret. Hold on.
I know.
In case there's some deep, dark secrets, I don't want to share that.
Eight 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in here this morning if you want to do so and be a part of the program. Let's get to this question here that came in for Preston here for him to weigh in on, because it is an interesting one. This is from anonymous texter here. It says, Preston, you've mentioned many times a cluster of talent comes out of a specific area. We've talked kind of about the Rock Hill, Northwestern Rock Hill kind of area up there, and obviously a lot of really good players. South Point now a part of that. Mentioned your recruiting class featured you from Summerville, Jonathan Alston from Stratford. You actually had another player that beat my Lexington team, who I thought was one of the best running backs I'd ever seen. Big physical kid, Gavin Varner, who was absolutely incredible. And unfortunately, I don't think had the grades. I think if he'd had the grades, you were talking about a kid who would have had to pick of several.
Gavin was a monster.
I mean, what was he, about 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, he was a legit big back then for sure. And even I think about that Stratford team, Sterling Hayward went up to App State. He was really good. Probably it's interesting, the Sterling Hayward conversation, and this is how recruiting even went all the way back then. Sterling Hayward ended up going to App State. His position or his spot at South Carolina was taken by James Atkinson.
James Atkinson?
I'm sorry, James Atkinson, yeah. So that was kind of that's how it sort of broke down for him. And you can argue how that would have played out, but I know Sterling went on to have a really good career at App State, and I'm sure he would have been as successful here at South Carolina. But as far as those clusters of talent, everybody that coaches in high school, it always works. They say talent runs in cycles, and sometimes you'll just have a group of kids.
Well, let me finish this and just kind of. It says, do you think this is caused by something as small as Pee Wee leagues? How soon in youth do you think a certain talent level is developed in a certain area?
Yeah, so sometimes you'll just have a certain group of kids that, whether it's because they've all played together or something, just if something was in the water at that time, I don't know what happens. But every coach knows there's a cycle coming around. So you'd be like, man, that 7th grade class is going to be the one. Or those kids that are in 8th grade right now, in about 3 years, it's going to happen. You combine that with having a coach in town that is maybe implementing a new program, or a coach that has a structure that's already in place. And those are the two things that sort of build to these talent clusters that it just seems to happen every now and then. So as they said, that South Point has always been good at football, right? But they had a moment where it was, JD and Holloman.
Holloman actually transferred down. He was one of the first. Gilmore, I think somebody can correct me on this.
We played Gilmore when he was in 9th grade at Blythewood. We had a little talent cluster there for a little while. Obviously, that was where Jeff Scott came through and sort of implemented a program. Sometimes you'll see a new coach come into a town that basically just corrals all the talent and puts structure to what was never structured. And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, they play really well. I think Buford is a really good case of that, even during that time period. They were fine. They always had athletes down there, but sometimes it takes a coach to come in and implement structure. Steve LaPrade down at Fort Dorchester, same players. He sort of starts to take from the Somerville model. He builds his own culture, and all of a sudden you have to carry on Joyner. You have all of these players that are coming out of these areas. So it happens very frequently, but you just sort of can look around the state sometimes and say, oh, they're playing some good ball in this spot right now. And I know that happens in football, but same thing in basketball, baseball, etc.
Well, I mean, you're kind of seeing it come through Dutch Fork right now with Jalen Hyatt to Antonio Williams to Jarvis Green, who will be going to Clemson. I know there are other players that Dutch Fork has had that are going on to bigger and better things, but you've seen that. Really, if you think about the area itself, right? The area, Dutch Fork, Irmo, Chapin. Chapin has had Xavier Short, who just came to South Carolina. Bennett Galloway was going to North Carolina State, and obviously something happened there. You look at Irmo with Nick Eamon-Worry, who has now come over. You've got A.J. Brand, who is the quarterback over there in the 2025 class, who just received an offer from South Carolina this week. And then obviously we just mentioned Dutch Fork. So you kind of look at that quarter going up, what is it, Highway 76 there from Irmo all the way up to Chapin that
And
you've
then
seen.
there's also a magnet effect. And I'm not talking about nefarious recruiting. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a magnet effect where people know that their child is going to be taken care of, that they know that they're going to have an opportunity to play at high level. And then you'll have a guy like Tom Knotts, who's probably he's number one in the state right now, followed real close by LaPrade. But if you have a child that's playing football that might have a possibility, then that would be somewhere that you were looking to either move to or be involved with. And I'm not talking about recruiting. I'm talking about people just wanting to be involved with success. And so you have kids that grow up in these areas or move to these areas, and then all of a sudden, with a competent coach, and in a lot of cases more competent when you have Tom Knotts or Steve LaPrade or these other coaches in other places, Stray Heron up in Rock Hill at South Point, that's usually what happens, and you'll sort of see these talent bombs just come out of nowhere.
Real quick, two huge pieces of news yesterday. We'll get to this. We'll get to Chris Deering, obviously, on Friday.
And I would love to ask Chris about that question, too.
But two huge pieces of high school coaching news yesterday. Number one, the guy you just mentioned, Steve LaPrade, is back at Fort Dorchester. This coming out yesterday. Chris Deering putting out a tweet. And again, we will get more on this on Friday. But a statement put out yesterday. It says, Coach Steve LaPrade has agreed to remain at Fort Dorchester High School in the role of head football coach. Together, we are looking forward to continuing the success that defines our Patriots football program. In addition to his football coaching duties at Fort Dorchester, Coach LaPrade will support, I guess it means District 2 athletics at the district office, where he and District Athletic Director Tyrone Drakeford will focus on strengthening our comprehensive middle school athletic programs as well as the future of all. And it says DD2 athletics. I don't know if you know.
That's Dorchester District 2.
Gotcha.
That's my home district.
Okay, there you go. So that was big yesterday.
Yeah. And I have to recuse myself from that subject because I love Coach LaPrade. He was my JV coach. I've known him since I was 14 years old. So I'm really glad that they got that situation resolved down there for him, and more importantly for those kids who he works with in that community.
The other huge news, my alma mater involved yesterday, Perry Woolbright leaving Lexington to go to Clover High School. So Lexington now with an opening there for their position, but Perry Woolbright essentially going home for him. I believe that's where his father coached, where I believe I saw yesterday. I kind of glanced through the article because we'll get to it on Friday with Chris Deering, but I believe that is where Woolbright played as well for his father, if I understood that correctly. So some big high school coaching news
that's Lexington's a big one.
Lexington is it's grown. And you mentioned it. We're talking about signing day. Obviously, Demetrius Summers. I coached Shaq Rowland at Lexington. I played with Demetrius on the basketball team. He was a freshman, and I was a senior, and he had a big tip in up at Lander High School for us to knock off Dorman in the upper state championship. So I did follow recruiting even closely back then. But so some big news there. We'll get to more of that on Friday when Chris Deering joins us for the high school highlights of the week. When we come back, we'll get into a little bit more. So you just real quick to kind of summarize what you think, and you think it's just a group of kids, just something at that time, just something clicks, parents that move into that were good athletes, just something that kind of clicks.
That's the most basic conversation, because you'll hear high school coaches all the time say, man, there's a class coming in 3. You've heard that conversation
I've seen
before, and you've seen it. And I don't know, it's the same kids in that 9th grade class. They're okay, but I'm telling you, this 8th grade class, they're coming. And I don't know whether it's the sun, moon, and stars lined up ready, or the water was flowing differently in that time period, but something happens in areas.
803-404-6100. We will get back into we have not really talked much basketball today. We haven't talked about the Sean Payton situation as well. So we'll try and get into that this morning, keep you updated. I'm trying to keep an eye on the Twitter here to see if Elijah Caldwell's letter of intent has come in at this point. Have not seen it just yet, but I'll keep an eye on that for you. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? Oh, I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
This report is sponsored by FN America Careers.
Are you ready to join a high-caliber team? FN America is always looking for the best talent to design and build the most innovative firearms. We make world-class products to defend our nation in a friendly, rewarding, and engaging workplace. Explore your next career at fnamerica.com/careers.
Life matters. Our natural tendency is to fight back. I love movies in which the bad guy gets what's coming to him and justice prevails. I also like for this cosmic conflict to be resolved in less than 2 hours. But life isn't always so neatly packaged. Sometimes we have to tolerate temporary setback while the wheels of justice turn. Sometimes the wheels just don't turn fast enough. Naturalist John Burroughs says that when a hawk is attacked by crows, he does not make a counterattack, but soars higher and higher in ever-increasing circles until his tormentors leave him alone. I think we can learn from the hawks. Jesus even advises us to bless those who curse us and do good to those who mistreat us. Sooner or later, we'll soar out of their reach, and Christ assures us the day will come when everything will be set right. Until then, keep flying higher. This is Stephen Chitty, pastor of Christian Life. Remember, life matters, and so do you.
Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to finish. We're people with a passion for helping injured workers. Bring your case to us and stop the worrying. We've got this.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Here's retired meteorologist Jim Gandy. I've known the Hood team for 3 decades. With all properties, there's always some problem, and they've always been able to deal with the property so it could be sold. And they've always been able to give us a fair assessment of what our property is worth and what the property is that we're buying is worth.
I'm Danny Hood.
And I'm Karen Hood.
And I'm William DiMaggio.
We're the Hood team at Coldwell Banker Realty.
Give us a call.
At 803-730-2512.
Or online at thehoodteam.com.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com. Canty can fix it.
If you have IRS tax problems, it can seem like a vicious cycle that never ends, year after year. Just getting the mail can be stressful and overwhelming. Don't let it ruin your life. There is a solution. Since 2008, the attorneys at Ecton Law Firm have devoted their practice to the resolution of tax problems for individuals and businesses across the Carolinas. We have the knowledge and experience and are dedicated to the success of each client. We are local attorneys with local solutions. At the free initial consultation, we'll listen to your concerns, your goals, and explain the systematic process we use in solving your tax problem. From that initial meeting, you'll see there is a solution. We're dedicated to improving your life by solving your tax problems. If we sound like someone you want to work with, take that first step. Give us a call at 803-771-9800 or go to ectonlawfirm.com. You'll be glad you did.
Breathe easier with Zerez Air Duct Cleaning. It's the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR30 when scheduling online at ZerezColumbia.com.
Get the right care at the right place. Visit Lexington Medical Center's convenient urgent care centers for minor illnesses and injuries, and use our emergency room for emergencies. Go to lexmed.com/care now to know where to go for the care you need now.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
We have a report of an accident, Pleasant View Drive at Highway 302. Also, I-26 eastbound after exit 91. Barrow Road near I-77, a report of a tie-up there. Bluff Road at I-77. And an injury accident, Chanford Road near Parlock Road. Your forecast for today, we are looking for a high of 63. Some rain coming in tomorrow night with a high of 52.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
Let's give you a chance right now. Caller number 5 wins a pair of tickets to the Columbia RV Expo, February 10th through the 12th at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds. Right now, caller number 5, 803-404-6100 is how you can win a pair of tickets to the Columbia RV Expo, February 10th through the 12th. You can get more details at ColumbiaRVExpo.com. Give us a phone call, caller number 5. You can win yourself a pair of tickets to the Columbia RV Expo, 803-404-6100. That RV Expo, February 10th through the 12th over at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds. Watched a movie last weekend, Preston. My kids picked it out. It was, I don't know if it's an old movie because Robin Williams was in it. But I think it was like RV or something where he rents an RV to travel kind of across
That's
country.
a funny movie.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
It was pretty good. I cried at age. I basically, if there's a family like storyline at the end, like it's like dad and kids bond or something, I'm gonna shed some tears. I have to get up every time to like go check on the cookies at the oven.
Okay.
What's your preferred method of not letting people know that you're crying at a movie? Because I just kind of just hold my eyes open real wide.
And I haven't been to a movie theater where I'm
just,
stuck.
just when you watch
like at the house, I just get up. I always have cookies or popcorn going like for family movie nights. I just wander over to that and I'm like, all right, we're just gonna stand here. Kids, if my daughter is a clearly gonna be a private investor, she's figured it out. She figured it out because stupid. I'm completely open. I like doing a show where people go like, I can relate to that. I understand that guy, or that guy's a moron. I totally get it. But the animated show, and it's old, and I don't even know that Disney or somebody, Brother Bear.
Okay.
If you're familiar with that, Brother Bear, the brother dies and turns into a bear or something. At the end of it, I just bawled. just
listen, they'll sneak up on you, man.
Just at the end, couldn't even make it to the kitchen. Just absolutely. So after that, my daughter's like, "What's wrong with you?" It's I don't know.
You got a lot of living to do, kid.
I don't know.
It's hard gristle.
I get up at 5 a.m. I'm emotional. What do you want out of me? I don't know. I'm just emotional.
I get it. Sometimes they'll sneak up on you. I understand.
So we try to watch other movies that
I just like to hold my eyes open. All right.
Or I sit close to the wall where I can kind of look over, just look at the wall for a minute. Anyway, 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. I want to remind you that tomorrow night, Carolina Calls with Lamont Paris will take place right here at 6 o'clock on 107.5 The Game. We'll get into that basketball game a little bit last night. There's just, Preston, not a lot that you can really say about that game last night. Josh Gray, I thought, had a good performance, 6 points, 14 boards. He's getting better in the post, but South Carolina, again, Gigi Jackson, 4 of 14, Michi Johnson, 4 of 12 last night. Those two can't combine to go 8 of 26 and win many basketball games left on the schedule. Probably no basketball games if those two combine to go 8 of 26. They scored just 28 combined points. Chico Carter Jr., rough night last night. Didn't even get a shot off. 0 points.
We sort of laid out the path towards victory yesterday, and if they didn't follow it, we know what the results are going to be.
Yeah, rough night. South Carolina also with 18 turnovers, some coming at completely inopportune times.
Can't do that.
And 18 turnovers last night. Just not able to get the job done. They fall to 1-8 in conference, 8-14 overall. Not the day to really give you a bunch of the stats that bear out what the beginning of the season has meant over the last 21 years, but it's not good.
But we have more tickets to give away coming up.
We will give more tickets away. And Heath Klein. It's the early game. 107.5 The Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game, a Cumulus media station.
With Credit Bank determined down payment, call 866-243-4623 for details. The legend of JT began in 1991 when rumor has it that a man with a 300 credit score was able to buy a new car. More than 3 decades later, JT of JT's Jeep Ram in Lexington has helped thousands of people get the new vehicle they need. You too can join JT's Credit Restart. It's easy. If you take home $400 per week and have a steady job, you too could join the thousands JT has helped and drive the new Jeep or Ram of your dreams. JT's Jeep Ram Lexington, JT'sJeepRam.com. President's Day sales.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Midstate has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Midstate twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, Midstate Roofing.
We get tested regularly to know our HIV status. Teenagers and adults can get tested at least once a year as part of routine health care. People at higher risk for HIV should get tested each year. HIV testing is confidential and convenient. If you are at risk for HIV, ask your healthcare provider for HIV testing or schedule an appointment during DHEC's free testing day on February 7th. Call 1-855-472-3432 to schedule an appointment today.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com.
Hey, I'm Jenny Sturm. I'm with Sturmy Plumbing. Call my dad if you have any slow drains, clogged drains, leaky pipes, runny toilets, runny sinks, or no hot water. Call Sturmy Plumbing for all of your service and repair needs. 803-201-2689. At Sturmy Plumbing, where we make your gray skies blue.
This is Lisa with Stormy Plumbing. I look forward to hearing from you. Please call us at 803-201-2689. Thank you.
what we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by the Power of Love Chevrolet, Tahoe, Silverado, Suburban, Colorado. If your dreams for the new year include cruising around town in your brand new Chevy, look no further than South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
The early game
with Bill Gunter.
What is an in-home visit like compared to the official visit or the whole recruiting process? Because the in-home, it's like you know them. I guess you're fixing them a dinner. It feels like you know everything. What was the in-home visit like with Lou Holt?
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
I guess I want to ask my mom what that was like for her. I never asked that question, but I would imagine in-home visits.
All right,
hot
dogs, nice.
For a lot of prep work, a lot of clean your room up, a lot of move all the baby stuff to the side or whatever you have going on in the house, and you basically just come in. We didn't have dinner because Lou and Charlie Strong were like, let's preempt that just in case I don't like the food. So it was just kind of like.
I mean, that's another good point. Like, I don't know how many coaches actually do that. Be like, you know what? I'll just bring pizza. Little Caesars is on the way. We'll bring the pizza.
And Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5
The Game.
Eight 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. Coming up in about 12 minutes, it will be Heath Klein. We'll get into a little bit more basketball discussion with him, and yes, we'll find out if he's a crier as well. When I'm going to kind of be fascinated to know the last movie Heath Klein watched. Like, Heath does not strike me as a movie guy.
I don't know. I think he might be.
Heath would much rather have on a Rockies Brewers, May baseball game than check out whatever
I bet there's a secret side. He may have tapped into that Amazon Prime J-Lo movie that just came out with Josh Duhamel.
I heard that is not good.
Shotgun Wedding.
Okay.
I heard
it's disappointing.
I heard not that I heard it from any kind of movie expert, but I heard it wasn't particularly good.
I like her and he's hot. So
it's a good combination.
Yeah.
I do think I want to watch, and I'm not much of a movie. I watch movies with my kids, right?
Okay. Go ahead, and then I'll.
No, go ahead, because I'm looking up the movie that I want to watch.
Okay. Preston, have you seen Smokey and the Bandit?
I cannot say that I've seen it since I've been coherent. I think I really feel like that's one of my dad's movies.
Okay.
We're going to be watching that, but I haven't seen it since I've been an adult.
Okay.
Are you recommending it?
Oh my gosh. Well, not around the little one.
Mm-hmm.
If you if you're not going to watch the TV version, which you shouldn't, if you're going to experience it. So I think the three of us need to have a movie night because Bill really hasn't seen it either. It's a classic. I mean, it's from 100 years ago, but
I'm down for it.
Gosh,
mm-hmm.
Evading the police.
Burt Reynolds, correct?
That.
Burt Reynolds, right?
Yep.
There we go.
Jackie Gleason. It's a great movie.
I think they drive a Mustang around the country.
They do not. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's something like that. Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy, You People on Netflix. That looks pretty good, actually. I think it's not a remake, but I think it's kind of the same story that we've seen multiple times with,
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yeah, Maria, by the way, on our live stream says Shotgun Wedding is not, and she capitalizes all not and all. Not good. Great actors, but do not do it. So yeah,
that's too bad.
You People probably is way. See, it's an hour and 58 minutes though. Like that's asking.
I need an hour 30. Get it done in an hour and 30. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I need to the point. Show me the movie. The one that I'm going to be upset with that actually looks good, but I'll go ahead and tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to Wikipedia it to decide. This is what I do with movies. Like I read the Wikipedia page to see if I'm going to like the movie. And then I'll watch the movie. Like that's kind of where I'll go.
So you spoiler alert yourself?
Pretty much, yeah. I'd rather know the ending than get to the end only to be angered by the ending. Does that make sense?
No, it does not.
There's nothing worse. I'm trying to remember the last. This is happening where I'll watch a movie and the ending is so bad. A Beautiful Mind was one of those.
Never
And that was I was in college. That was 20 some odd years ago, and I went on a date for that and never saw the girl again because I was so angry at the movie. I was mad at everybody. The ticket taker, the concession stand worker. The girl didn't get a phone call back because I wasn't having any. I was so mad at the movie that I didn't deal with anybody. I cut everything out of my life that night.
Wow.
Yeah, you definitely need to be careful on that. If there's any, folks that are taking people on dates to the movies, just be careful. In school,
And this is somebody who went to the glitter Britney Spears movie on a date in like high school.
It's not a that was bad.
And did whatever I had to do, buddy.
I get
whatever.
you.
But I went in with low expectations.
I get you, but we.
So did the girl you dated.
I went on a date and we went to see Hotel Rwanda.
Okay.
About the genocide
Yeah.
in Rwanda.
Oh my gracious.
Not a great topic for a date.
No.
Very sad. Talk about crying.
Yeah.
It's not wasn't the right move. So just got to make sure you pick well on that.
So yeah, no, it's that's not movies. Like I said, I would rather know the ending, know what's going to happen.
That's an interesting style. I've never heard that.
Because I've wasted time. Let's see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the movies over the next few weeks as we kind of train. I'm watching a lot more college, but last night watched just the Miami and Virginia Tech was on. Miami kind of making a resurgence this year under Jim Larinaga. I've gotten back into the top 25. Ended up watching Duke and Wake Forest. Was getting into a little bit of Maryland and Indiana. So again, I'm in that way. I'm kind of like Heath Klein. An update here. We are patiently waiting for about 1:00 today. Nicholas Harbor is going to make his announcement, and keeping up with some of the national analysts today. Steve Whitfong has put out an update late last night, early this morning. He is now starting to lean toward Oregon as being the projected place for Nicholas Harbor. So we will obviously throughout the day, we'll cover that. We will see kind of where this goes with Harbor. I know some people on our live stream are either preparing themselves for something bad or just kind of projecting the worst. But yeah, something to keep an eye on. Obviously, Colin Taylor will be today's Wednesday. Colin Taylor will be in here, and then the Gamecock Central guys from 11 to 12, and they will have updates as well. But it's something there that you are tracking today because that's the big recruiting news for South Carolina today.
Yeah, but for all the folks out there, if he was to sign with another school, which would be whatever, or commit to another school, however that works, don't feel as if it's as we were losing something because he was never committed to this actual class. So It's like you can't miss something that we never had. It would have been nice. We've all fantasized about him wearing the uniform and catching touchdowns for us, but it's not as if, and I'm not trying to preemptively say this, but it's not as if you're losing. So it's not as if he got flipped out of our class or something along those lines. So if we get him, it'll be wonderful, obviously. But if not, then it'll be fine also.
Yeah, again, I think it's a perception thing. I don't know how good he'll be as a player, and there's reasons by that. I think I can't even start to explain what it's like to be an upper echelon track athlete that has aspirations of running in the Olympics. Like that's, to me, we kind of got into it with JC yesterday. Y'all mentioned it. I've never tried to do hurdles because I was terrified
It's more technical than anything he'll probably would do on a football field.
And so I'm not, look, he may end up being a Heisman winner and he might end up being absolutely incredible, but I have no clue what Nicholas Harbor is going to be as a football player. What I do think and why I think it's important is, again, because of the perception that South Carolina would pick up, being able to go into another part of the country and land a prospect. And I think that in and of itself would be really huge and certainly something that Shane Beamer and staff could really hold up. You know, again, you're coming off a guy, Jordan Birch was getting better every year. He was getting better each and every year. And that's why you hated to lose him. I think he was primed for a good senior season, Preston. And quite honestly, the way he was developing, he was going to be a starter and be a line. So, but he was a 5-star guy that maybe drew a lot of grief for not living up to the hype. It feels like Nicholas Harbor could have fallen into that group. But again, just the fact that Shane Beamer would have landed that prospect, I think would have been a big deal.
Well, I think the national recognition is still there because everybody that's talking about this prospect signing, they're having to say South Carolina in all of these conversations. So there are a lot of people I imagine around the country that are like, I wonder what that's about. Whereas people are like, oh, yeah, Oregon, Nike deal, whatever people kind of throw around like that. People, when they hear South Carolina, people's ears are perking up. So landing him would be obviously awesome, but I do think the perception of just being in the race at this moment is still solid. Solid win for the group.
803-404-6100. That's why I enjoy doing a show with Preston and Jen, because we can talk sports, we can give you the breakdown of Nicholas Harbor, and then we can also apparently go down a path of what is your date movie.
And then your voice can crack as if he's Peter Brady going through puberty.
Or so, because I'm just laughing at some of the replies that people let's see. Teddy wanted to know, has Preston seen Smokey and the Bandit? Asked right as Jen was asking. You've got people weighing in on the Shotgun Wedding movie. Everybody agreeing, by the way, it's awful.
That's too bad.
We've got an early game consensus.
Well,
Shotgun Wedding, bad. It's just if we were a Rotten Tomatoes website that judged movies, Shotgun Wedding
confirms one of my hottest takes, but I'm gonna hold that about J-Lo being the most overrated person in Hollywood.
I can't remember if it was Toy Story 4, but Gary says Toy Story 4, where they're going into the incinerator and they're all holding hands. Ooh. And it looks like that's going to be how we wrap up Toy Story. Gut wrenching.
What on earth?
They survive. Gut wrenching.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen this one. I have Wikipedia to find out what happened, because I want to see I think because I did this, I want to see the movie. Richard says, try the movie Megan. It's a funny horror. There's nothing that has been suggested about comedy horror for the movie Megan, which is the AI.
Looks like it's sort of gore. I see where that one be coming from.
Jonathan says, depending on kids' age, but you may not want to watch You People with your kids. Seems
that's not a kid.
Seems fair. Justin giving his best date night movie. He's going completely opposite of where you went. Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Well, that's going to be a litmus test, because if your partner can make it through that, then they know they actually like you.
That's a good point, because that is kind of bottom line dumb.
We know it's simpatico. If we both are enjoying this, then we'll be okay together.
All right. Brock weighing in, probably saying something that everybody's out there saying, said, I would never let Bill date my daughter. That's
good.
It's a good decision on that one. So 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Some of y'all weighing in on the Nicholas Harbor situation. Certainly, again, we'll continue to watch that throughout the morning.
I'm just laughing because I haven't seen Smokey and the Bandit, but I have seen Beavis and Butthead Does America. So I don't know what that means about my film.
I haven't seen Smokey and the Bandit, but I've seen, I think it was Glitter with Britney Spears back in the day, but I was doing whatever I had to do. Jen, you missed it during COVID. We had because my movie knowledge is so poor, on Thursdays they would make me watch a movie.
Okay.
With his, issues, he doesn't focus on it, so he really still get
Shawshank Redemption was one of the first ones that they were upset I had not seen.
Oh, you had never seen that?
Nah.
Well, I haven't, and you will not see me watching anything that's really scary or might make me cry, because I figure there's nothing in life that can make me cry. So I'm more of the Tommy Boy, Austin Powers, like if it's that kind of silly, dumb, Smokey and the Bandit, Trading Places.
Shawshank is uplifting at the end, but it takes you through it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to get that emotion. I have the emotional roller coaster working with Bill in the mornings. So yeah, I need a release.
3 days in, you see where this program is going.
We have a really intelligent sports aficionado.
Robert,
we can come in and talk some real sports.
Real quick. Robert weighs in. Romance movie, good romance movie. Grumpy and grumpier old men. Romance wins in the end.
Absolutely, and those are great movies.
Great movies.
Great movies.
Underrated movies for sure.
Yep.
I didn't know, I wasn't planning on talking about my love for those movies, but underrated.
Yep.
That's when I found about Sophia Loren. I was like, oh wow.
Oh yeah.
I counter that.
My Fellow Americans is another good one. As Jack Lemmon and James Garner, and they're kind of running. They're two ex-presidents, kind of on the run across the country. It's fun.
We
need to have a movie night.
Hotel Transylvania and Hotel Transylvania 3.
Okay.
That's what I bring to the table. A man who brings much, much more to the table. We'll get his best date night movies. He's prepping in the producer studio with Jen. Heath Klein will join us next. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
Have you missed any of the early game?
You can catch up by going to the early game on demand page at 1075thegame.com.
Or by downloading our 1075 The Game app on iTunes or Google Play.
This is JR from the JR Sport Brief
Yes,
with the CBS.
I saw that. Really? He's
LeBron James
retiring.
climbs another list. No, he didn't pass Kareem yet, but he's now fourth all-time in assists, passing both Mark Jackson and Steve Nash last night in Madison Square Garden. The Lakers beat the Knicks 129-123 in overtime, and LeBron James had a triple-double. Looks like LeBron will pass Kareem next week. Looks like LeBron is getting everything except another title this year. I'm sorry. I'm JR.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. This winter, there are new COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against recent Omicron variants. If it's been at least 2 months since your primary series or original booster, schedule your updated COVID-19 booster dose at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. Cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
Country On Tour with special guests Chase Beckham, Ashley Cook, Haley Witters, and DJ Rock. Saturday, October 28th, Credit One Stadium, Charleston. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. Before the general public on sale Friday. Get tickets at livenation.com. Luke Bryan's Country On Tour, presented by Live Nation.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today. or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus.
I have Tom Brady stuff ready. It's 50 seconds, 5-0.
Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
We have a report of an accident, Pleasant View Drive at Highway 302. Also, I-26 eastbound after exit 91. Barrow Road near I-77, a report of a tie-up there. Bluff Road at I-77. And an injury accident, Chadford Road near Parlock Road. Your forecast for today, we are looking for a high of 63. Some rain coming in tomorrow night with a high of 52.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
(803-404-6100). Preston, one thing you'll learn about the early game by doing a show from 6 to 9 a.m. Very rarely. It happens. Obviously, it just happened now. We're going to interrupt our fantastic movie discussion, but very rarely do we get legitimate breaking news. Normally, that is saved for Heath Klein in the afternoon. The 3 to 6 window is, generally speaking, when people like to break news. But we do have some really massive sports-related breaking news right now that probably is appropriate to stop talking about movies and talk sports. In order to do that and get the proper take, we bring in the guy who thought he was showing up to talk about movies, but now will be forced to talk sports, Heath Klein.
You don't realize this is all a big promo for 80 for Brady? This is all about the movies. Figure it out, dude.
Why he's here. Guy's good. Did
Are
you
you planning
see
on
how he
seeing
did
that?
that?
He's
That's
a
why
pro.
I aspired to be like Heath Klein one day. Did you see how he tied all that in?
He's a
quick?
pro.
It is, we're going to let you listen to it in just a second. Not 80 for Brady. Tom Brady has just announced his retirement again. Personally, I hate second retirements. Michael Jordan did it poorly. Brett Favre did it extremely poorly. I'm not sure, Heath, I'll let you start real quick. How are we going to process this? Because, by the way, I didn't see this coming. I think you and I discussed this last week. Thought he was going somewhere else. Just wasn't sure where.
Yeah, I thought he would too, just because I didn't think he'd be willing to be satisfied with this year. But having said that, look, it's a good idea. I didn't think he should have come back this year.
Right.
If you watch Brady, he has not been the same level of player that he was even when he started with the Bucs. This year, he played behind a line that was devastated because of injuries and free agency losses and retirements. He did the best he could with a bad situation, bad coordinator, bad line. It was just not a good setup. I thought there would be that stubbornness to say, I'm not going out like that. The year before, remember, he had won a playoff game against the Eagles, lost to the eventual Super Bowl champs, and he scored on his final drive. His final pass was a touchdown. Then the Bucs defense gives up the long pass that turns into the game-winning field goal. So he could have, and he did. He cashed in his chips on, all right, sure, it would have been nice to win a Super Bowl, but I completed the last pass I threw for a touchdown in the playoffs, and I won a playoff game. And instead, he said, let's give it one more. And so now, okay, you lose in embarrassing fashion in the playoffs. You win their division, but with a losing record. Trash season. I just thought, if he felt like he needed to push it last year, maybe he tries to push it this year. But physically, he's not the same guy. That's not a knock. He's 45, for Pete's sake. It's ridiculous what he's been able to do. But this is a good idea. If he doesn't want to go out like a Mike Tyson getting knocked out by Kevin McBride, this is the right move.
We will let you listen to the video he just put up on his Twitter account. We'll let you listen to that in just a second. He gets emotional in it, as you would. Preston, I'll go to the player side of things with you. I ask you, what is it like when you realize your career is over? We talked about it earlier. Signing day for you in 2000 was a pinnacle moment. You're going to play college football. I know you aren't Tom Brady and you didn't play, you're not even 45 yet, but the day that you realized it was over, that was it. What is it that you think Tom Brady is experiencing this day? Because this is it. He's not coming back. We all agree on that, right? Like, this is it. This is it. What is it? What was it like the day you realized, hey, this game that I've loved and I've played, I'm done?
Yeah, retirement is tough for every athlete. Every time, every athlete. That's why you see them get so emotional. Even though he knew this was coming, he made the decision. And fortunately, he got an opportunity to make that decision. Most athletes don't get a chance to have a retirement announcement. They just pack your stuff up and they usher you out the building, or your eligibility runs out. And so he's amongst the few who gets to announce his retirement. And then whenever you hear somebody do announce a retirement, it's always emotional because, and there's so much conversation you can have around, but it's essentially a part of them is dying. Their identity. Tom Brady has been Tom Brady, the NFL quarterback, for 23 years. And before that, he was Tom Brady, the Michigan quarterback. And then it was the quarterback. So he's going next year, tomorrow, he's going to wake up and be a totally different person. And you can read all of the stories, John Elway, you read all the stories about guys that once they retire, it takes them a while to figure out who they are and what they're doing with their lives. So, I mean, nobody's feeling sorry for Tom Brady, obviously, because he has a hefty contract waiting on him on the other side, and he'll have plenty of things to do. But it is very difficult to reconcile the idea that you're no longer doing and being, more important, being the person you thought you were.
Yeah, Preston, you got Greg Olson sending text right now to Brady. No, man. No, you got 3 more years than you,
I
man.
just read an article about that. Greg Olson, who's done a phenomenal job, but he's about to get bumped out of the way because they need to pay
You can
Tom
play
Brady.
till you're 50. I'm telling you, you can make history.
I think he's telling them, Cliff Kingsbury is single and sitting. Where did he go? Thailand? He's like, he bought a one-way. You're single. You can go hang out with Cliff Kingsbury. Don't rush to come back. Let's let you listen. This is Tom Brady put this out 15 minutes ago. It's on his Twitter account at Tom Brady. I'd like this. We'll talk about it afterwards. A little self-deprecating humor a little bit in here, and then you hear it get emotional. But this is Tom Brady giving his I'm retiring speech.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
I don't know where everybody falls on Tom Brady. I think whether you liked him, whether you think he's a cheater, I don't know. I think there does have to be a level of respect there. And Preston, back to that, you hear the emotion in his voice, because you're right. And to Heath's point, this is it. This is it for Tom Brady. There's not going to be, it would be the worst thing for, I think, anybody's career. Jordan coming back with the Wizards was pretty bad, but this would be the worst for anybody coming back out of a second retirement. And you can hear the emotion. By the way, if you'll see the video, I'm sure later, it'll be all over the news today. He's on a beach, Heath, Miami, maybe.
It could be Miami. It's Florida, pretty clearly a Florida beach. Could be Miami.
Tampa,
could be by his home in Clearwater. My guess is probably somewhere in Miami, but never know.
It looks Miami. But anyway, he's on a beach. He's clearly walked out to the beach. Doesn't look like he has any help doing the video. Looks like he's set up the phone somewhere and just cut a video. And you're right. Tom Brady's got a lot of money and he's got a future in front of him. He's fine. But you do hear the emotion there, and I think that resonates maybe more so with you, Preston, because of your time playing football and the love you develop in that locker room, the camaraderie and the friendships that you develop over time.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I mean, I don't know if this news but there's nothing like being the greatest at what you've been in a stadium, in something that really, really matters. And he's going to make a whole lot of money, but he's never going to be Tom Brady, the quarterback, again. He's just going to have to face that. No matter what happens in his life, there's no other higher than that. And you know, I hate to say it because they were, oh, well, you know, you could get married and you can have kids. It's like, that's all great. But have you ever been Tom Brady? And nobody can say yes. And so for him to say, I can't be that person anymore, he's gonna go through some soul searching for sure.
So that will leave the question about what is next for him if he takes to the broadcast booth, or does he follow the path that Heath and I set up last year? Do we get a reality show, Tom and Gronk, or a buddy cop movie, Tom, Gronk, with Kim Jong, Mr. Chow out of The Hangover, as the angry police sergeant who's got to try and clean up all of the shenanigans that Gronk blows up?
Keep in mind, I mean, for real, the TB12 stuff, like, he's really serious about this, all the nutritional stuff and everything else. But he does have this deal with Fox. It's not just for him to be in the booth. It's to be this ambassador. It's to try and develop shows. Like, I mean, what you're saying, what we're talking about there is kind of joking. But, I mean, look, if Tom Brady wanted to do a knockoff of The Bachelor starring Tom Brady, who gets to be the next Giselle, Fox will do it. My Lord, have you seen that show they're doing with the farmers? If they're busy trying to hook up some farmers, what do you think they could do with Tom Brady and the chance to say, hey, we got 20 models here trying to be the next Giselle? So I bet you're going to see him in something. I don't know what, but I bet you're going to see him in doing some kind of stuff like that.
Does Fox have the Super Bowl?
No. Oh, wait. No, this year they do. Yeah, but he's not. They've already announced he's not going to be in the broadcast this year. So,
but he'll be, you would agree. I mean, because he's with Fox, right? The contract's with Fox.
They've announced their plan. I mean, look, okay. If Brady suddenly is like, hey, I want to parachute in and do something, they're not going to be like, yeah, get lost, Tom. Okay. We saw 80 for Brady. You're lucky we want to talk to you. That's not going to happen. But if he wanted to, I'm sure he could parachute in, but they're not going to put him in the booth or anything like that.
Remember, Waste Management is taking place same weekend. 17th hole is a pretty lively place. You could have Gronk and Brady on 17 out there in Scottsdale.
They're going to be like the Kardashians making the rounds at different parties.
To show you how hard it is to retire, Gronk, the meatiest head of all meatheads, he cried at his retirement. Even him, the dude who we think is just a golden retriever. He has nothing in between his brain. Even he had moments. So it's really difficult.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on that. We'll talk a little basketball with Heath. Kind of stay on this. It's interesting. Give you a chance to win some basketball tickets as well, especially for tomorrow night, South Carolina and Kentucky. Dawn Staley's team. Right now, I'll tell you what, let's give it Jen says now. All right, Jen, you're in charge.
Let's go.
All right, caller number 5, 803-404-6100 is how you can win yourself a pair of tickets to tomorrow night's South Carolina, Kentucky women's basketball game over at Colonial Life Arena. 803-404-6100. Caller number 5 right now. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gotta take.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
My drinking had become a problem. Too many nights waking up at 3 a.m., sweating, head pounding, self-loathing, and anxiety hitting me hard. Thinking, how did I do this again? What's wrong with me? Why can't I stop?
If you're finally ready to stop drinking completely or just want to drink less, naltrexone could help you. Naltrexone is an FDA-approved medication that reduces cravings and pleasure from drinking, making it easier to drink less or quit alcohol altogether. And you can see improvement almost immediately. Whether your challenges with alcohol are mild, moderate, or severe, or health makes it simple to get started with treatment, just text BEST to 323232 to get a secure link to our private online assessment. One of our licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment, and if medication is right for you, prescribe it directly online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your front door. No doctor's office visits required. You really can stop drinking or just drink less. Text BEST to 323232 to get started today. Text the word BEST to 323232. Text BEST to 323232.
With approved credit and bank determined down payment, call 888-320-6359 for details. The legend of JT began in 1991 when rumor has it that a man with a 300 credit score was able to buy a new car. More than 3 decades later, JT of JT's Kia has helped thousands of people get the new vehicle they need. You too can join JT's Credit Restart. It's easy. If you take home $400 per week and have a steady job, you too could join the thousands JT has helped and drive the new Kia of your dreams. JT's Kia on Killian Commons Road. JT'sKia.com.
privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass. Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text WINDOW to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text WINDOW to 200-300 right now. Text the word WINDOW to 200-300. Don't wait, text WINDOW to 200-300.
Strengthening the lives of children and families is a passion. Turn that passion into results as a child welfare case manager. Learn more at dss.sc.gov. This message is sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Social Services.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Pioneer Tree Service has more than 4 decades of helping homeowners maintain and manage trees on their property. Their skilled crew offers customized solutions that match your needs and budget. Tree trimming and tree removal can be dangerous. You need to trust the people that are doing the job. Before attempting to remove limbs, call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote. They remove limbs safely and make sure that future growth is directed away from potential trouble areas such as roof lines and driveways. Cutting down trees takes more than a chainsaw. Even branches can weigh thousands of pounds, and their removal must be handled with care. Pioneer Tree Service offers a full complement of state-of-the-art heavy equipment, from track hose to bucket trucks, to safely remove trees and stumps from your property. And no matter where you live, the Gantt girls can get there. And I want you to call them at 803-794-8253.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zerorez. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119 plus a free hallway. Book online at zerorezcolumbia.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WIN for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WIN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WIN.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
We have a report of an injury accident, Chadford Road near Parlock Road. Also an accident, Harbison Boulevard at St. Andrews Road. I-26 eastbound, also at Harbison Boulevard. Pleasant View Drive near Highway 302, a report of a tie-up there. And a disabled vehicle could be slowing things down, I-20 eastbound at 277. Your forecast for today, looking for a high of 63, down to 52 tomorrow. Some rain coming in tomorrow night. Right now, it's 61 at 107.5 The Game.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Eight 803-404-6100. one angry texter weighs in. Tell Preston, actually, he might be just being nice, but I'm going to read it. The angry.
Okay.
Heath, I should really have. Heath has a much better angry voice than I do, so I should let Heath read this. But I'm going to do it in my best Heath impersonation. He says, "Tell Preston he's not giving golden retrievers enough credit."
They're great dogs because they don't have much going on. And they just throw the ball out chasing, and I love it. That's why you love them. That's why we love Gronk. It's no credit.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Texter might have actually been very nice, but just I wanted to read it in the Heath.
We love them. They know why they're there. We all know why they're there too. We love them for that reason.
So the big breaking news coming out here in the last 30 minutes, Tom Brady officially hanging it up and moving on. I know we'll cover this. I know ESPN will cover it, as Heath said during the break. ESPN probably the happiest of all to have this news out there. This will just be now the next 7 days of ESPN fodder leading up to Super Bowl.
It's this or the Pro Bowl games, so they gotta lean in on this one. You can only do so much with celebrity dodgeball or whatever the heck it is that's going on in Vegas the next day or two.
So we will cover that as well as we get going. Reminder coming up at 2:00 today. Shane Beamer's press conference, National Signing Day taking place. You can hear that live on 107.5 The Game. That'll be 2:00 today right here on 107.5 The Game. We will continue. I know, again, Gamecock Central will have some updates on Nicholas Harbor coming up in about 2 hours at 11 a.m. this morning, and we'll get to that. We haven't talked much basketball today. Preston, Heath, I get your kind of take on it. 1-8 is what this team is. We said yesterday, and let's ask Keith the same thing. Meechie Johnson's stats in SEC play are just awful. I mean, they're just awful. Preston and I kind of debated on this. Like, where is the line in telling him not to shoot? Obviously, want him shooting closer to the 3-point line, but where is the line in telling him to not shoot or taking some of that green light away, as opposed to he's one of the few guys who can make it and kind of keep you in a game? Where do you fall on what you do with Meechie Johnson right now?
I mean, I don't think you have options.
Yeah,
that's the problem. I mean, Spurrier used to always quote Wooden on this about, using the bench. How do you use your bench if you're Lamont Paris? You don't have guys on the bench you can bring in. You can get more time for Jacoby Wright at Meechie's expense. I mean, you can't basically say, hey, you're shut down. Chico takes more shots. You take fewer shots. You can't realistically do that. If you do, you're just bottling up any possibility for growth for Meechie Johnson as a player. So, I mean, they just don't have options. I mean, it's just the reality of this team. You'd love to see them be able to have more of a linear development than they're going to be able to have. But, yeah, you got to hope for a little of this and a little of that. A guy like Gray has gotten a little bit better. It's incremental, but it's a little bit better. You just got to hope maybe at some point for Meechie Johnson, he starts to wise up and take some better shots. And maybe he in doing so has a little more success, and then that kind of reinforces that. But if you're Parrish, you're just so limited in what you can do right now that I'm not sure there's any good answers.
Yeah, that's going to where this team goes. And I think that's the concern. Preston, you've seen teams, not trying to bring up bad memories, but that went on a downward spiral. Back-to-back years, you were on teams that were 5-2. One went away from bowl eligibility only to lose those 5 games. And that's tough to endure. And this team now, obviously the great win against Kentucky, but what's it like being in a locker room when those losses start to pile up and all of a sudden the next week begins to look more and more bleak?
Yeah, you're right. I've been on that team in particular. We were playing well, and then it started to slip away, and then the locker room sort of fell apart. There was no center holding that locker room together. But we had higher expectations, and then the guys that were invested as seniors, they started looking towards the NFL, and everybody just sort of forgot the current mission that we had. I don't know if that's happening in this locker room because I'm not sure what their expectations are. It's probably a lot easier to be part of a bad team that knows you're bad and we're fighting uphill together as opposed to a team that falls apart. But this is where locker room leadership and where Coach Paris is going to have to really dig in and implement his culture and all of those cliches that we talk about, because it's difficult to keep a team together when you're losing.
The COVID year was bad, Heath, but understandably so. In that season, South Carolina played only 21 games. The Gamecocks now have played 21 games. In that or they played 22, 8-14 now. In that season, the COVID year, South Carolina had 9 losses by 15 or more points. 4 losses at home by 15 or more points. As we wrap up the month of January, the numbers are the same. There's been 9 losses by 15 or more points total, 4 of them at home by 15 or more. Your concern now, I think we talked about it with adding G.G. Jackson, is you're trying to build for the future, but you're trying to showcase this one guy and build around him. How does Lamont play the month of February here while trying to keep fan investment right now is very low. Last night's crowd indicated that. What is the move here moving into February?
Yeah, I mean, you just keep trying to bring him along as a player the best you can, keep his mood up, and honestly, there's no good answers for him other than recruit, get ready to hit that transfer portal like crazy for the future. You're not building anything this year because you can't build anything this year. You can't build on a foundation of mud. I mean, what do they have? Jackson's gone, and we all know he's gone. Hayden Brown's a useful contributor at times, but he's gone next year. Maybe you could say Chico Carter's 3-point shooting. Yeah, one more year of that, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe. I mean, other than that, Gray a little bit better, but I mean, you don't even have a foundation. You have nothing. So you better at least try and make sure G.G. Jackson hopefully continues to improve as a player if you can get him to do that. But again, it's just like what Preston said. He's going to have people in his ears telling him things about what he needs to do for his future. He's going to have his own opinions on what he might need to do for his future. And with each passing game becomes more and more clear, there's really not a present to speak of. So, I mean, we haven't seen any issues with effort, I don't think, there, but you've got to wonder at some point, how mentally engaged does he stay in trying to listen or improve this year with this team versus whoever the other voices are, they're going to be telling him, hey, this is what you need to do. If you're Lamont Paris and you're saying, I need you to do this in the flow of the team, and somebody else is telling him, hey, man, 3-point shot, you can knock down some more threes. That could move you up. There's going to be a conflict there, and I don't know how you manage it because, again, you have no options.
Let's give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to Saturday's contest. The Gamecocks will host Arkansas at Colonial Life Arena, 3:30. Right now, caller number 5 will win a pair of tickets to Saturday's matchup against Arkansas, 3:30. And you'll be able to hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. Also, check it out on the SEC Network. 803-404-6100. Caller number 5 wins a pair of tickets to Saturday's contest against Arkansas. You're listening to Heath Klein, Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's producer Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Lowe's. As a Lowe's MVP Rewards member, earn bonus points when you shop select products and brands. Redeem for e-gift cards and more. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms while supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit Lowe's.com/MVPs bonus points.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Experience the future of connectivity with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering the fastest speeds in the nation for $49.99 a month. Advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security, free for 12 months. And a Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G, free for 12 months. That's Spectrum One. Visit Spectrum.com or your local Spectrum store today. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com.
Canty can fix it.
The 5th annual Driving Down Maine virtual golf tournament, hosted by the United Way of the Midlands, is coming up this February 6th and 7th at the Players Club, 1626 Main Street. Proceeds will be benefiting 17 Midlands elementary schools. Register your team now online by going to ua.org/DDM. Save 10% with the promo code THEGAME, all caps in one word. Again, 10% off by using the promo code THEGAME, all caps. It's United Way of the Midlands Driving Down Maine virtual golf tournament, February 6th and 7th at the Players Club, 1626 Main Street.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-767-6464. 800-767-6464. That's 800-767-6464.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119 plus a free hallway. Book online at zerorescolumbia.com.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Still working an earlier accident, Chadford Road near Parlock Road. Also an accident, Harbison Boulevard at St. Andrews Road. I-20 eastbound at Harbison Boulevard, an accident there. Summit Ridge Drive at Summit Parkway, we do have a report of a tie-up as well. Forecast for today, we're looking for a high of 63. And I might see some rain coming in tomorrow, 52 for the high. It is cloudy. Sun is trying to peek out, though, and it's 61 at 1075 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios, this is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
Jen, just how smart do you think I am?
You really wanted to answer?
Hand this to Heath. Read the bottom. Read the bottom under giveaways. Heath, if Captain Dave, will Captain Dave ever give you a giveaway breakdown like that, telling you?
So it's giveaway, one pair with one symbol per game, two pair with a different symbol per game.
Do you know what those symbols are?
You're giving away tickets to see Prince. Pretty cool, actually. Prince has played Colonial Life before.
I just looked at what you wrote earlier. Of course, when she wrote it, I thought she stepped in front of me during the show and wrote down something on my sheet. And as I watched her write, I thought she was writing grievances and was just listing out things that she was not happy with me about.
I'm sorry, that was my shorthand.
And so it is the male and female sign. And I just looked down and I was like, what is? And it took me about half of that commercial break while I was talking to you guys to go, what is she written here?
Sorry. I'll write the words next time. That's, I'm saving space on my little notes here, so that's what I write, but oops.
Captain Dave, do that for you?
I got no headset, so you got to tell me.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. No. We're just, as you saying, she did it shorthand. Couldn't write out male or female or just M or W or yeah. So yeah, apologize. I forgot your headset list down there.
So I use the male and female symbols that kind of make you think of Prince.
She used the male and female symbols. So yeah, so that's why he thinks of Prince. So yeah, thank you for that. So
sorry about that.
It's been quite the show. Obviously, a lot of discussion about National Signing Day. We'll see what happens with Nicholas Harbor coming up at 1 o'clock today. Again, you'll hear Shane Beamer at 2 o'clock right here on 107.5 The Game. And Tom Brady. Heath, I know real quick, what have you got today going on?
Well, obviously, whatever Harbor does. Love to have my day dictated by 18-year-old kids. It's my favorite thing. So when we get the chance to deal with the aftermath of whatever that is, obviously Shane Beamer talking at 2. So we'll talk about whatever he has to share on a lot of different things. Mike Morgan joins us in that 5:15 window. We'll probably hit a little bit of basketball with him as well. And just the overall SEC season. Again, there's still a lot of moving parts to this season, but naturally it's signing day. So whatever happens on signing day, even if it's not what it used to be, we'll be dealing with that a lot.
Preston, happy signing day. Did we relive some memories today?
No.
All right. We wasted 3 hours of Preston's time. Good news. We're going to do a Thursday show. We'll try it all.
We got to do it again tomorrow?
We'll do it all again tomorrow.
All right.
Get yourself up early. See you tomorrow.
WNKT FM Eastover, Columbia, your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game, a Cumulus media station.
Days later, JT of JT's Jeep Ram in Lexington is
Good to see everybody.
There we go. Yeah. All right. Say goodbye to Heath and
Yeah,
Preston.
excellent.
We'll do it all tomorrow. See if Jen's talking.
Yep, I
There
was.
you go.
See you guys.
Later.